overall market is concerned. We are back in negative territory as far as the S&P is concerned right now, but there is certain areas of interest as far as positivity we can talk about here. 0.25% right now overall for the S&P 500. Consumer discretionary names, top left today, typically means, on this board anyways, typically means that it's providing, the group is providing the most influence on the overall market. Amazon here, however, standing out as positive in this group, 2.6% to the upside, whereas the rest basically of the retail sector downside coming off Home Depot's earnings. We'll talk about that coming up. Lowe's as well here, 1.2%. There's Home Depot, 1.7 right now. It's actually Etsy, though, 6%, leading the way as far as retail names are concerned. Best Buy, that is Best Buy, not BBBY. KMX, 3% downside. eBay here as well, 4% in the red. Industrials across the board, pretty much all red. This one having quite the day. AMD, just a monster, 5% to the upside, 2.25 meanwhile for NVIDIA, but there is enough negativity in the semiconductor group overall to offset what's happening between these two right now. SEDG and Enphase, 3% each downside. First Solar as well, 2.4 there, downside helping to offset that overall. Banks are weak, healthcare weak. The rest of this board pretty much in the red as well, outside of Google and Goog. Both 3.4% to the upside. So pretty good afternoon as far as those two are concerned. I can show you this as well. And there it is. Yeah, 0.5%, or better part of 0.5%. To the upside, everything else pretty red on this board right now, including crude oil. 1% for Bitcoin, Ethereum holding on to positive territory, but only just. Hope your afternoon is shaping up to be a pretty good one. We are dealing with a lack, though, of volatility once again this afternoon. We'll get into a few things here to kick things off. As we were discussing this morning, we were talking a little bit about regional banks once again, coming off a note from Berkshire as far as COF is concerned. We can tie that back in, but there was a note late in the day yesterday, if you remember, on PACW and WAL, specifically the regional banks, from the Big Short himself, suggesting that there might have been some buying going on. So PACW, WAL, regional banks in focus, guys, right out of the gate this morning.
They were, but that's not been the story today. I wish it was. I wish I could tell you that all I traded today was PACW. Look, it hasn't been all bad, but PACW ended up being a fade. I don't know what to say. If it got a bounce yesterday off that Michael Burry note, I suppose if you exited the trade 5 minutes after the open, then you did well. If you hung on to that buy, clearly it's back down to $5. The good news, however, if you want to look for a silver lining, because it looked like the group was making a two-day recovery here, $5 held. So there's a wick at PACW specifically, just underneath, got to $4.98. Now you're making a higher low. So for now, you've got that support in there. I did think, and I'm sort of waiting around for this one, the Western Alliance, to make the right move. This was I was not looking short this today, so let's just get it out of the way. 33 was the big level. We're waiting around for this to break. This is 33 on the daily. I just felt as a stronger of the two. If this could have made the breakout, it looked pretty good. Stair stepping up, consolidation, take out the high. Instead, the opposite. So if you're looking short and it doesn't break resistance, then you could be short this. Now, I'm not, because I wasn't. That's not the one I decided to spend energy shorting on, so you can imagine what else we've been talking about today. We'll get to it at some point. No, you really? Google's not on there? All right. Anyways, not in the regional banks. I suppose there might be a trade-off PACW at $5 if it wants to hold that all afternoon. Now, we have lots of time for that to settle itself down, but quite frankly, these were a bit of a disappointment because I did think there was some potential upside if you could have broken out of resistance. Just wasn't able to happen here. Specifically, Wall was the one I was looking at.
Yeah, Google coming back down. I don't have any bank plays today, but again, we talked about stop orders not hitting. Mine doesn't hit at 120. And I went to get a coffee, came back, and it's all the way up here. So yeah, we make a mess of Google even more than what it is right now. But regional banks, are we even? I don't even know if we're on that. I think we're just sort of running things down right now. Yeah, PacWest. The one that we looked at there earlier was no, that's the warrants. PAC Where is it? W, there it is. I want to see 550, sorry, 450, if 450 held. Yeah, we didn't get down there. So 450 was really the only area for me here that we were going to look at. Not much happening today on this name. It does bump to 570, now coming back in. I still like a 450 take here on Pac West as we watch to see what's going on right now. We do have a new position on board right now. Intel, it broke higher there. We got a little out there at 51 when it broke higher, but right now we're short 48s on Intel, bringing this back down to the downside here. Hopefully this can continue its march lower as it's been doing, down 1.21% into the monster of a day for AMD. We're going to, AMD's not even on there.
Well, that's what, yeah.
I wonder if that's old, that list. No, Baidu beats.
No, but that's all right. Because Tesla's Investor Day's today.
AI again, yeah. I mean, AMD and AI, they're all sort of tied in there. All right, I'm going to go attend to Google, but let's go over to the big desk with Sharif and Brendo.
Yeah, a bit of a choppy afternoon overall. NASDAQ trying to roll over here, back to the downside. This one was just a monster yesterday going into the earnings report. Baidu, I'm speaking of here, but we were kind of wondering this morning sitting here in the pre-market. We gave back the entire gap and then some, but look what happens after the market gets open. Pretty impressive here, 4.5% back higher after Baidu comes through with better than expected results.
Yeah, red to green move, Brendo. I didn't get to trade this on the midday show, but yeah, at highs. We saw this morning them talking about leveraging AI in all their products. They have an AI that they debuted earlier in the year called Ernie. It was, riddled with controversy because it was a video, but they've since made inroads, Brendo. It looks like good for the stock today.
The bounce on the daily chart continuing here. Nice looking daily chart coming off that 120, 115, 120 area. Back to the upside. Long way to go potentially still, guys, for Baidu.
There was a moment just before we came on here. I saw Ponzi Fonzie said something about, let's
that?
go back to the morning. It wasn't talking about Baidu specifically, but I know lots of levels that we're looking at and stocks we're looking at. He talks about, remember the Alamo and remember some of the key price levels on yada, yada, this and that, and lots of missed opportunities. Baidu, quite frankly, ended up as one of them. It's going to happen. But, let's go to the daily first. Breaking out off 125. I mean, there's 125. There's a 50 period of 135. So that's your breakout on the daily. That's your upside for the trade. You had gapped up, fell down. At 8:30, you're holding 125. It's already starting to move away. It's like, yeah, that trade's probably gone off that level. Let me go back to the 3-minute to show you what ended up happening. Now, at 8:30 or 9:30 when the market opens, you pick what stocks you're looking at, right? Like if it's not on your radar, you're going to miss any kind of snap move. That's just how it is. But if you happen to be watching Baidu right at the open, legitimately wick down, breaches 125, rejects, does not make a fresh low, so holds it. There's your re-entry, holds 125, stair steps up, $10 later. So it gave you it did set up, but this had to be the focus if you're going to make that trade. It's going to be a big spread. All the caveats apply to this one that it's got to be on the top end of your mind if you're going to take a trade like that. So at the time, I think I was offering way higher on Home Depot, trying to catch a stink offer to short that. But the stink bid on Baidu, yeah, that would have worked out pretty nicely. I don't have it. Don't think I'll be touching it this afternoon. These don't usually move much in the afternoon, so I'll stay away from that. I got to take a fill because the position board is working now.
Good, yeah, my positions are in there. All right, Alibaba up to $90 almost, 89.20. What a great trade that was yesterday, buying those 85s, 85.80 or so, but it's a nice move up here. We were debating trading this on the midday show, but then we were like, it doesn't generally move, but I guess if you just tried to play the short, this is one name that's not ripping up right now, although the NASDAQ has pulled back just a little bit down to 13.5, but there's Alibaba right there, 89, this would have been a good one to fade. So I think if we can get back up to there, we'll try to fade Alibaba with, I believe, earnings on Alibaba's Thursday night. What day is it today? Today's Tuesday. Yep, okay, there it is. May 18th. So yes, Thursday pre-market. So 16, 17, 18, Thursday pre-market. So we'll be able to see what happens here with Alibaba. I don't know if that's correct. 308, 306, 307 on the price earnings ratio. That seems a little bit high for Alibaba, but we will still respect whatever those numbers are and see what happens on earnings day. Alibaba definitely nice off the bottom here. So you're kind of curling back up. We saw Google breakout. We see where that's doing. We've seen Meta breakout, Microsoft breakout, all the big tech names break out, and yet some of these big Chinese names still at or near some of these bottoms. So let's just...
Can you show me?
hold out for a little bit of a BOBA break if they get a good report. I think if you could break 104, 105, that's still a ways away. But then 120, if you can get anywhere near here, I think you can get back up to 120. So that is Alibaba.
So just quickly here, because I know like the smirk when you saw that PE on a BOBA like didn't feel right. So I see on FinViz PE 40, forward PE of 10 on Alibaba. That's at FinViz. So that seems a little more reasonable. And look, anytime you see a financial metric and you're like, that doesn't make any sense, just check another site, check another resource, because if it doesn't smell right, like the second I even just hear Sean go, and he said the number, and I was like, what?
As soon as I called it up, well, you heard me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
We were both like, what?
Yeah, it's like double check it. You never know. Like just some little mistake gets made in the calculation. These things happen from time to time. But yeah, it's not. If it was that ridiculously expensive, I mean.
Yeah, we wouldn't like it.
People will be talking about it a heck of a lot more negatively. Let's talk about a little bit of Tesla, apparently, here, Brendo.
Yeah, Elon getting the microphone warmed up, I guess, for later on this afternoon, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, annual investor day kicking off for Tesla. There's been a lot of talk on this over the past couple of weeks, the lack thereof a succession plan for Elon, so I'm sure he'll be asked about that. And then some, including some demand issues, softening demand and delays. Speaking of, they came out and said they're going to halt production in Shanghai for a week, I think it is, at the end of the month to make some adjustments to accommodate the new Randy-approved Model 3.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday. It looks good, guys. They also want to look at, you were mentioning the succession plan. They also want to look at margins because Elon earlier in the year saying he wants to work off volume rather than playing the margin game. That concerned a lot of investors, Brendo, and so they're expressing their concerns to the board. Yeah,
and he also doubled or tripled or quadrupled down on this whole AI idea. He really wants to go back to putting some time and effort into building a true open source AI, apparently. So this new CEO on Twitter, or for Twitter, will apparently, guys, allow him to do that. So I'm kind of eager about these question and answer period, at least tonight.
Could have stuck with the open AI that he already helped to start up. That would have been one thing you could do. Oh, it was a long time ago that he got out of that one. Oddly enough, I guess that was a bad omen to start talking about Tesla. Well, okay, it was like 5 minutes ago, but yeah, you just had a bit of it's not a flat bottom break, but a support break here at 168. You're now trending down to VWAP. With this happening in the market, sort of breaking this channel to the downside. I'm in Apple from the morning. I'm in a new trade in Micron, but that's just about it for now. You're getting a little bit of a breakdown in the market, and Tesla taking out this support. If we start holding beneath VWAP, there's a 167 break. I think 168 is turning into a bit of a resistance. Yeah, but I'm not going to chase this move. I do think Tesla's turning into a short from here, maybe a sell-off going into the investor day at the close. But I'm not going to chase it all the way down here.
Sharif, your mic is on. Sharif.
Mike.
Everyone can hear everything you're saying.
Little hot mic action. The show never really stopped. But yeah, I'm not chasing Tesla down here. I think if you got the 168 break just now, and that's the stock that you were watching, then congratulations! Support gone at the same time as the NASDAQ went down. So that looks pretty solid to me. Just not worth chasing at $1.
All right. Yeah, Tesla, I think you just want to wait for that day there today. Pretty calm down. We'll wait to see what comes through. I mean, obviously the talk of the new CEO definitely helping get Elon focused there a little bit more on Tesla v. Twitter. But for now, honestly, I love these rundowns and I love doing them, but I got bigger fish to fry, including Google. We just reloaded that up here at 120.60. All we're trying to do is scalp, man. I'm still pissed off about the stop order not triggering, but not only did it not trigger the first time, it should have even just triggered the second time when it went back up through 120. So that's pretty crazy. But we're short again right now. We're actually really banking out on Intel. We're out. We only have a third left on this name, and we just cleared some out here near 40. Let's put some more on the bid just in case this name wants to go back up to the upside. But it's really all for me right now with this Google short. Maybe it's finally exhausted a little bit here, although the futures, again, still up. We'll see if we can hold this 50 period. Let's see some downside pressure here for my friend, Google.
Yeah, what a day. Some EU headlines coming through on that end. What a day for Google again. What a week so far it's been. Just having a look at, we were talking about this 23 area, 22.5, 23 area in the pre-market here for AI ended up being a decent level. when all is said and done, we get a break of that high as well from yesterday. Kind of choppy, though, overall for C3 after what happened yesterday.
Yeah, we got green there for a bit, Brendo. 24.86 we got to. We didn't give up yesterday's gains, though. So if you're swing trading this, you're liking what you see, you're holding the highs near yesterday.
I just saw a gold settled below 2,000 for the first time since May 1st. Interesting move for gold back down today. Frank Caberna coming up in half an hour or so. He's going to talk. He's not actually going to talk about gold, I don't think, but we're going to talk a little bit about what happened last week and what is going on as far as debt is concerned. But maybe we'll talk about gold. But anyway, something to look forward to, guys. Frank Caberna coming up. Anything to do with AI? I mean, constructively, we're holding at the top end of the range here.
So we're just talking about rewinding the tape and looking back to some opportunities that got missed this morning. Well, I said I'm not touching AI until the short off 25 even. So the good news is, as the stock went from 23 through 24, through 24 and a half, up to 25, actually 24.86, I didn't short it. So that's good, right? Like you don't get, don't let it rip your face off, all that kind of other stuff. But at about 12 o'clock, when it was making that top and reversing, and just to show you why we did like it, and we're talking about this maybe in the midday. So this is 25 after the short seller report. It was able to bounce off 20 and then sort of failed when trying to get back above there. So break that 24 level, fail at 25 even, should have been a short. At that particular time, I don't know, like there's this, maybe you've heard of it, Alphabet. So I was taking my fourth shot shorting this name at the 120 level. So we always talk about the opportunity cost while shorting the 120 level on Alphabet, which was working at this particular time. So I want to say this is the one that actually worked on Alphabet, like the 120 into 119 and a half. However, I don't mind missing out on C3AI. That was a good opportunity there. But look, Alphabet, it got me because I did stop out at 120 and then got right back in because it wick topped the quarter. It wick topped the quarter and I got it. I had it short on the way back. I had it. And then it came right back underneath 120. I'm like, oh my goodness, they ran the stops, and I got the short at 120.25. This is it. It's going to VWAP. It relieved all the pressure. That's the one. And 5 minutes later, or 10 minutes later, I will stop back out at the high, and that was it for me. Like once that didn't work, the wick above 120, I was like, I just threw my hands up, and I don't even. Like that was exactly the move. It trapped all, it broke the high, went 25 pennies, slammed right back beneath 120. Like that's generally speaking the short setup when you're at a top like that, and that didn't work. So whatever, I'm a bit speechless by it. So maybe one too many times. Although that last one, the most defensible to me was the false break at 120 of all of my shorts there. But yeah, I missed out on C3I because of it at 25 even. I wish I could have that one back. But at the time, the 120 level on Google was the big opportunity. So, you pick one. Obviously, Google, I'm probably going to pick 9 times out of 10 in that spot. Unless AI had been up like 50% or something ridiculous that day. But it wasn't that big of a move on AI up to that level.
Yo.
Afternoon coffee.
Yes, cheers.
I'm drinking tea right now.
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Don't care. Yeah, that's about my attitude sometimes around here sometimes. But no, look, both Neil and I, our worst stocks today, of course, will be Google, as Neil just highlighted. I pretty much have every single fill that Neil has, except for, unfortunately, I was so confident. I was just putting on bigger defaults for myself. But this was when we did okay right here. We did bad. This is when we lost everything. Up here we were making it all back until I said we went for this said coffee and did not get taken out when it broke 120. So that would have been fine. Like, look at all these shorts up here. 120, right back in 119.40. We were doing this live on the show. And I was like, Sharif, man, thank God, this just saved my day, blah, blah, blah. Only to come back to realize that a big position that we had on at 120 did not get stopped out. So I had to sort of, I guess, massaged the trade a little bit, which is not that great. I came back and I started seeing some double, triple tops up here. So it's nice that it's falling back in, but we're not trying to, make a bad position worse here. So, let's get out as it drips down. We're still holding half of what we had, but because we're able to average, we got one piece out right there when it broke 70 the first time, but then got back in, and now you're seeing we're making some money back. So it's actually, it sucks to have missed that because then we could have been reloaded up here. But for right now, we'll hold this and see if Google wants to finally retrace a little bit down. I did, though, during the break, go into my account, my swing trade account, and got out of some of the Google here because, again, I was buying this sub 100 just like Meta. Meta obviously now at 240. If this name can get to 240, then we'll look a little silly selling today. But I'm happy with taking some Google profit. Again, look at what's done over the last couple of days. Just an absolute beast to the upside. As soon as you took out 110, it was see you later. Nice little move to the upside. But I'm sitting here holding a coffee. Meanwhile, I'm making enough money back that I could buy a few more than one coffee here. So let's get a little bit out now at this 120. Here we go. Yes. Thank you. Hallelujah. Now it's coming back down, and we have a much, much bigger. Okay. So now we're right back into our pocket again. So there it goes. Nice little trade there on. Max scared me because he was like, I'm definitely not going short Google up here. And I was like, oh, shit. Not only am I reading this thing wrong, but now I got Max talking about not wanting to short it. But we were short. We're shorting it now. We are short, and we're covering this at 120. Hopefully, it can get covered at 119. But this is a good pullback. Let's make sure we take advantage of it.
Just heads up on this. Lots of people looking at this already, but Zila just took out the highs there, 750 on a monster volume spike as well at day highs there for XELA. Anyone who missed it, they went 1 for 200 yesterday. So teeny tiny float left over once you do that. Microsoft and Apple, bottom of the list there. We were talking about it this morning on a couple of different notes. The first off being that Microsoft in Windows 11 has now opened the door for people with iPhones to be able to plug them in essentially to Windows 11 and have compatibility for iPhone messaging, which is huge if you're sitting in front of a computer all day, every day, as we all are, and you want to have an iPhone. So nice story today for Windows 11. I might even upgrade.
And the market liking it. It's up a percentage point. Apple hasn't done much. Max and I joked around during the midday show saying that Apple's been on vacation. So, Apple not doing much. Microsoft liking the news.
Just seeing some comments from White House Kirby there. It was not about the debt ceiling, though, so no fear. Nice look for Apple, or nice look. I'm still looking at Zila. Apple's not up 130%, but nice look for Microsoft, guys, on Windows 11.
I got caught looking at Zila too. I'm not gonna lie. The 1 for 200 reverse split. Of course, after you do.
What? I'm not up 200%.
It's gonna continue to run. Oh, I'm gonna get through Apple because I have a comment or two about Zila. But 173 at Apple. I'd show you the level on the chart, but this is what I keep trying to clean up this wick. But this is one really bad one down to 153 from yesterday. It just keeps on coming back. So I was short it. Got to the price level, waited for it to get there. That worked. And then I added to it here. That was probably bad. Just allow it to work first, and then didn't scalp anything out. It broke the high of the day. When it was top wick, I jumped right back into the trade. Got it to VWAP. Then, I don't know, I should have been more aggressive, I guess, shorting VWAP there. For some reason, I wasn't. And then it did break back above there past noon. This is oddly enough, like right after I exited, right after Google kind of stopped working. I'm like, well, you have a lower high on Apple. And that's a weak name. So Reliable Rudy was like, well, at what point do you stop looking for shorting relatively weak names and jump over to shorting tops? A lot of times, it's like a lunchtime thing when the market settles down and it's been range bound, which, by the way, most of the time as a trader, the market is more range bound overall than it is super trending like we've seen sometimes the last couple of years. Like over 20 years, most of the time you get a lot of chop. And that's generally pretty good. The mean reversion trade during lunch is usually a pretty good setup. But I didn't completely stop trying to short the weak names. I did jump back into Apple lower. That's what I'm sitting in right now. I have offers to try and get that VWAP above or right at VWAP, but it has trended back into the downside. Looks like it's going to maybe break that recent low and get down into 170, 150. So I got the short here in Apple. We'll see how it does work out. It is relatively weak, so it's got that going for it. down 0.1 into a market that's up 0.4, at least for now. But clearly some relative weakness over there in Apple. Microsoft I didn't have. I know Sean's got that one to the long side. So Microsoft stronger, Apple weaker on that news, which, I thought that was good news for both. Maybe a little better for, it doesn't. I'd say it was good news for both. Probably a little better from Microsoft than I thought, but who knows? Get more access to some of the Apple users. It made sense to me.
Yeah, I don't, you know what? I mean, based on the way the market moved today, man, I don't really think had anything to do with anything. I mean, Microsoft broke that 310, which was the top, and we were able to trade that, and we did fine on it, to be honest with you. We did take an out when it broke 312 the first time, but then all the way back in, and still in the name as it is breaking lower. It's funny because I was thinking about these shorts and I was just obsessed, and this is the problem, and I know this is my problem, getting obsessed with like one name over and over again. So missed, just like Neil said there with AI, missed the opportunity of shorting this Microsoft trade because it came right back to, and I was doing this live on the air when it went up here to 313.70, and we missed that top. We're like, okay, let's get back there again, and it only went to 40, but then I just missed that top as getting ready to come right back on. It came right back to 313.50, so I feel like that would have been a good out. We're now at 85 cents in the money. Take the longs. This is reminding me already, honestly. It's not really reminding me like Google, but like there's the break. I mean, it already happened, but there's the break of 295. So it goes back to August, just like when the NASDAQ goes back to August as well. Breaks the high and continues to go. So as soon as we broke 295, 292 here on Microsoft, it was up and away. And what I'm sort of comparing that to is this Google break. Is this Google break right here as it just broke that 110 area, and then there's it goes back to, I mean, that's only September. Every stock's going to look a little bit different, but some of those highs in the fall were also made sort of early on in the year. Then when we took them out, it's just an upside rip move right there. Let's just check out AMD as we're done with the rundown. Thanks, Mahad, for that. AMD, and this is why we bring this to everyone's attention right now, it's just doing it right now. So if you think that this AMD run is over, you may want to think again. I think it might be over for today. I mean, up 6%. But this is why we're running to these levels, which is why I've been shorting in and around here, 102.50. And I don't feel bad about losing on those shorts, to be honest with you. I mean, we hit the long when it broke 101, so we had the long today. AMD is fine for me. It's just we gave some back shorting up into that high. So I don't know what we all think. Comp SRX1, Reliable Rudy, all those traders that have been here with us from day one. You guys know that it's tough to sit here and trade every single day and have all of your ideas work out every single day. We talked about going 7 for 8 yesterday, and then today I told you we lost. Everything's fine. We're actually doing okay. It's just we lost more money on Google right here, just not thinking we were going to take out that 118. And then on the daily, that's just, that's right, I can't keep doing this for Google. The 118, we bounced off there only 3 days in a row. We didn't take it, right? So today, the fact that we took it should have been a little more responsible and just went long as soon as that 118.50 or something was taken out. So, my bad on continuing the short, but there it is. There's 118.50 right there. We got out of the way. So it's just too much risk, a little bit too, it's not even like it was too early. It's just that trade is not going to work for you. But if you did want to make sure that you followed us every single day, we have watchlist.tradertv.live. We have the sticky note. I know Neil put something out as well, and Brendan tweets out news as he goes. So make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button and get all of the information live into your inbox every single day. So, is Alibaba breaking higher or what? That Baba, HOD, I just saw. What's up, Renata? There's another trader. I didn't mean to shout out everybody and not Renata. She's literally here every single day. And I think we got to do something with the Streamlab points as well.
I hope she still got it.
We'll figure all that.
You're supposed to be able to gift points to people. So
you could.
I thought, I don't know, maybe Bears versus Bulls. If that's working, the whole gift points. Now let me know how that works. I thought I was trying to do it yesterday, and maybe I could just be doing it wrong. That's exactly what it is. I probably did it wrong trying to do it yesterday. But Alibaba broke the high of the day. I'm not in it anymore. I kind of hate myself for it, but it made the breakout. Let me give you the 15-minute here for a second on Alibaba. So there is the double top. Okay, you can kind of see it despite the fact that that's gone. But 88.5 was the double top. It broke out. We had the long, then it consolidated off 89. I had that as well. Didn't go. Ooh. At this point, it was had the channel for so long. I'm like, whatever, it's going to dip and it's going to give me VWAP because this is
Sharif.
too tight of a consolidation. It's not going to go. So I just trailed it out, waiting for that pullback. Ends up, now it just goes again. So it probably would have stopped me out at some point, but then you get the big break. So I'm a little bit frustrated by this because I did not hang on to it, despite the fact that it really wasn't that far against me. So sometimes you make a decision when there was no need to make a decision. That's overthinking it, and now Bob is breaking the high. I'll like it back into this consolidation point, so that 88, like 75 zone, maybe like an 89 long on the dip. It is a good look on that higher level time frame, so I still like it in there. I think it'll be a good one. Maybe even just for the next couple days, at least till it gets to 90. Let's just say that. Until it gets to 90, I still like that. I meant to talk about Zila here for a second, and I said I would, and then I didn't, so apologies to me. It was a 1 for 200 split when it was 3 cents. So this is what happened yesterday. 1 for 200, for 200 split. I'm pretty sure it was 3 cents. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
How much do you think it was?
I thought it was 3 cents at the time, but it doesn't.
Oh, all the way down there.
It does, you guys, maybe it was under 3 cents.
What was Zila doing at 3 cents?
Either way, Zila was getting absolutely crushed. You can see it sold off, held at 250. Now you're making ridiculous moves in here. I don't think it's about necessarily levels. The float's going to be vastly smaller when you do a reverse that extreme, and then you can get like soaking of the float and squeezing higher. It is like it's resisting any attempt at halting to the downside. So like when it rejected 7, it pulled into 6, somehow didn't halt down, and then just continued to the upside. So there's no halt ups. There's no halts to the downside when it's coming in. It's just doing a fantastic job of stair stepping. So something extreme has to happen. Now I paid for locates because they're really cheap. I'm talking like less than 1 cent per share cheap. So if it goes to $10 or $15 or $20 and I see an opportunity, that's going to be worth it. There's plenty of liquidity on it. 37 million shares have already been done. But it probably has to make a redonkulous move to the upside. Bears versus bulls, all you got to do is just gift and then the person's name. Okay, well, I was doing it wrong yesterday because I thought that's what I did. So Zila, I'm thinking $10 makes some sense to me, probably 9 to 10 area. If it makes a move into there without halting, I'll probably look for the fade. I don't want to chase this. It just feels like it's too far gone.
Yeah, I think you're going on a slippery slope gifting because then you're going to people are going to want that a lot. I feel like we've got it, but yeah, you and Bears were supposed to do that. Shout out to everybody who's in our chat, man. We love all y'all right now. So they're talking about some Taiwan stuff here. I don't know, there's not much going on right now as far as the news is concerned that I can really see right now. But let's just, honestly, man, I don't care. We'll do this right now. We'll ride some bearish action in Google because now at least it's pulling back down a little bit here. So, happy that we have this short, and it's a great one, and it's at the 200 period right now. So that's sort of what I wanted to give everyone an idea that we're getting some more out. We got some out at 92. We're getting some more out right now on Google. So this is a good take, man. And again, was really upset that stop order didn't work. And we did get stopped out a little bit there, obviously, but averaged in, and now all the way back down to the downside. But I don't really know why it stopped at 120.50, basically, and turned around. I mean, the NASDAQ obviously started hitting some levels up there at 13,550 over and over again. And that's sort of what created a little bit of sell pressure. Now that we're under the 50 period, we're able to make a little bit of cash finally on these positions. And then, this is my favorite stock, and I'm the only one on the show that trades this. Intel.
I know.
Neil, I gotta do what you do to Sharif. So my favorite name to short. Neil and I are always looking for this name, especially off $30. But today, Intel it hit the 50 period. This is when I was looking for shorts. Like that's when I started shorting Google and I was noticing the NASDAQ. So I just went over to something that I saw the 50 period. I knew that's relatively weak, down 1% today. And that's what we did for Intel. We got stopped at a half once it broke, for sure. I mean, I don't know if I can zoom in and show you guys this. So here it is. Okay, so perfect. So we averaged it into 50. It broke 50 and we got out half of it at 52. That's a 2 or 3 cent hit, 100%. But then when it broke 50, we got more in and took it again. So now when it's dropping down, obviously that's a 2 or 3 cent hit. Now we're taking a little more than that, but it's bouncing off 38, 39 again. I just noticed I had a 38 bid. So, you know, we talked about Sharif on the midday show, you know, not getting some fills and switching over to your gateway. So I'm going to, you know, potentially on a stock that moves like this, it is better to use, you know, a BYX or a BOSX or something that, and this is maybe going over some of your heads because we don't all trade like this, but there are some gateways in there. See, like at 38 right there, like the only way you'll get, for example, a NASDAQ or an ARCA or something like that is if you get it through you. So sometimes you could sit there on a dark pool. Like I just got touched a little bit there, but not the whole thing.
I find midpoints aren't bad on Intel.
That's the other thing. So midpoints where you can actually gain rebates, which is kind of very similar to sitting there on a free one, or a dark pool. But dark pools, again, I don't like to use the dark pool keys. Not only, well, sometimes they're good. I've never really gotten into them, but they're the most expensive fill.
That's sort of the thing.
You know, so for me to sit at 38 and get the fill, it's going to be relatively expensive. And a lot of the time, they're bigger bulk orders. So if you're just trying to piece out, sometimes you don't get. Anyways, life of a trader. But you know.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Because like, well, for anybody that has direct market access, it is worth considering those things when you're trading in Intel. Because I use the midpoint because you get the fills and you can get the rebate in there. It just saves you a little bit. The only reason I'm not on Intel today would be because of Micron. So like, there's AMD and Nvidia today. And I'm sure we could talk other semis, but then there's Micron and Intel. Both of them are to the downside.
Like this is Google.
It got to this level, obviously, that 65. We talked about it yesterday, and then rejected that. So it did the over/under thing. We shorted it early. I did have a reload that I didn't like, and I'm right back into it, playing it into the low of the day. That's the only reason I'm not in Intel, because I like this one. Now, Apple just made a bit of a bid, which is interesting because the market's coming back down here. Is this? Yeah, that chart's better. My 3's okay. So caught a little bit of a bid here on Apple. If it makes a lower high and then the day support, well, the early day support turns into resistance again, then a rollover here makes sense. Otherwise, you know, this is a VWAP retracement play. As the market is coming down, however, like I see weakness. We talked about Tesla breaking down just now, and if it can't hold that 160, well, if it can't hold VWAP or 167, then this turns into a bit of a fade. I like this one. If a 13.5 goes in the NASDAQ and we're trend down, heck, the way this is broken down, that 167 into VWAP makes some sense to me. I just reloaded some Micron in there, and you know, I'm looking. Look, Google's broken through the Alamo. I think that's pretty much done. But we'll look at some other names. I do feel like Tesla, if I have to add something, you can throw in the fact that maybe there's a little bit of a sell into the event kind of thing, as we had such a strong morning and there's some profit taking happening. So if the market rolls over beneath VWAP and beneath 167, which was the early morning breakout, that's what you like to see. As it creeps up, just need to see it fail this level, and then I would jump in to the short trade on Tesla. I'm done maybe with Nvidia. The long is valid if it holds this 295, but this market, it does feel like we want to come back in here. I guess the 95 isn't completely dead just yet, but it's sold off pretty heavily here. A nice long consolidation could put this back in to the good graces, I suppose.
All right. Were you talking about Tesla? Yeah, you were. Okay,
yeah, Tesla. But then Nvidia at the end there.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, I just saw some people talking about Tesla, so that's good. Neil covered that, obviously. And I was just looking at Google, trying to figure out where we gotten out in the past, and it was right down here, 119.50, just to find out that we couldn't. We couldn't break it last time we were down in here, right? So this is where we got a whole bunch of fills out here, 119.60, 119.50, and again, kind of coming back into this level. So there's an out at 80 for us as we have broken down below. I really feel like if we're going to do any sort of a trade to get out of this, and we talked about this earlier, traders adding the 50 period. I know Sharif, I don't know if you have it on your 1 minute, but we've done that, and I've added it, and I added, and we talked about how we're each doing different things off of each other. The one thing that I learned about one chart was the 1 minute chart. looking at the 21 period moving average. And I don't know, it's right here. This is this purple line on e-signal. So shout out to Max, because Sharif was saying that he's put on the 50 period on the 1 minute and knew that I was using that. And then obviously that comes from when I was talking with Mark Roberts back in the day on the daily chart. I really liked using the 50 period, and I asked him about it, and he had mentioned it as well. So then I put it on to the 1 minute chart, which is this line. So again, just if you want to get a little more aggressive, like here, I mean, we can look at this line together if you want. It's just the purple. So, you get breaks. It's the 21. It's not like it's just when we curl back up, you need reasons to get out of things, right? So right there's the 200 period, obviously, 50, and then the 12. So this could be support, and I'm using these lines as trend breaking. So, you're riding it downside. Now, if you break the trend, you could, wind your way back up. So we haven't done a whole bunch of work with the 21 period moving average, simple moving average on the 1 minute. But if it's good for Max, then we will put it up on our charts and use it to hopefully our advantage. And I don't have it on here, but you can see there's the 200 period, so that matches as well with the e-signal chart, so all good on our charting, but that 12 period is up at 120. So let's get a piece out. If it wicks a little bit higher than 120, like 120.05, we'll get a piece out of Google. Long story short. What up, Sharif?
To inflation and service inflation, saying it's stickier than anticipated. Just want to let you know 4 potential market moves.
Mike's going, but shout out to Mahad. He's working hard over there, and it's a tough job by himself. No, it's working. It got turned on at the end there. So thanks, Mahad, for doing that. Yeah, Renata's like, hot mic. Renata always paying attention to Sharif's microphone. So that is good.
I know I got caught because after I moved back from over there, I was like telling you how cold it is. So I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so cold sitting in that corner.
Yeah.
And I think the hot mic was on catching me. It is. There's like a vent. We've talked about this before. There's a vent over there. Traders in the corner have always sort of complained about it. I'm always complaining about how cold it is because, quite frankly, I may have been born in Canada, but I got West Indian blood. And, if it ain't at least... room temperature is nice, but you need at least a couple of points above that, and then we're good. That's what I'm talking about. So 295, we're back above 295 on NVIDIA, and this is me looking for that 295. That's me not getting it. Maybe it'll pull back in here. I don't want to chase here if I'm giving it back. It's just underneath VWAP. I don't want to chase it by $1. That would be a little bit frustrating. But I did just jump into Tesla on this consolidation. It is making the run into VWAP, so it got right to this, I don't know, whatever you want to call this nonsense that happened for 15 minutes, where it's just going over under 167. I don't want to give this too much past that half, and we'll see what happens with that one. I keep looking over at Google. It's like maybe I shouldn't look at it. Zila, by the way, so I want to be pretty patient with this. It's giving you a long consolidation here, and sometimes you get that. It's been breaking out when it's done this. So the last couple of times you've gotten some breakouts off of this, slow breaks, big breaks. The next break up, I'm looking to see if there can't be like a failed high break or maybe one that carries it into a halt that maybe gets it to $10. So I got this one on the back burner here. I don't want to be overly aggressive with it. Oh, Apple as well. So Apple's starting to come back into VWAP. This is really screaming into VWAP here. Strongest move. When it broke VWAP, the best entry was the strongest actual move, and that's when we got this short. I'm looking for a similar thing in here. So looking for that curl here in Apple. Just the 3 positions on, not really looking at anything else outside of a little bit of Zila. And, of course, looking for an NVIDIA if I can catch that 95 to the long side. But I won't chase that one.
All right, I'm getting locked and loaded up here. Okay, so we did get out some of our Google. It broke through 121. So we got out. So that was a good... 120, back up to 120. Trust me, if it went to 121, yeah, you'd probably hear a little bit more, but that's a good one, Neil. Because
I almost know, because when you say that, it's like
there.
almost believe it. I'm not, but like...
No, you're not. You got Google. I like the Apple short. That's probably a much better one than that. We've been hitting Apple short as well today, which was good. Okay, yeah, so that was Google. Oh, the other trade idea. So we'll go like this. We have a new trade idea. We're going to do it right now. I think Tesla... Why not? There's VWAP. Let's go. NASDAQ held VWAP. I'm going to put VWAP on here to show everybody. I don't have it on right now, but NASDAQ held it right here. So I I like it, man. I think we can get going back above. And if we don't, we have our outs. Like, it's bouncing off 167. So, you know, we can, I mean, it's not necessarily bouncing off. It went down as low as 166.50. But what about Tesla taking VWAP there back up to the upside? So here it is right now. Obviously, it's messy early. And then there's the break. There's the break, and it just kept on going to the long side. Obviously, it danced around the 200 period. We do expect that. And then look what it did against the 200 period again. Couldn't figure it out until eventually it went to the downside and then takes VWAP. And as soon as it does that, 167.50, it makes the move all the way back down. So maybe let's test it. If it gets back up to the upside, if these futures start to go, look, we're short Google, we're short Intel. We've got some coverage on the short. We're long a very, very small piece of Microsoft. But I think this is a good opportunity right now to grab the long in Tesla. I know it's only up 0.43. The market's up 0.43, so it's kind of 1-to-1 there. If the market doesn't go, then this shouldn't trigger anyways. So that's good. If the market goes, I think we can take the long Tesla and then see what's happening at this. Is it like technically an investor day tonight? What are they calling it? We have Frank Caberna waiting, but I just want to find out. It's just an annual. Hold on, let me see what we wrote down here.
They give it a name, but it's like an annual meeting.
Yeah, it's called annual shareholder meeting. That's what we had written in our notes. So, okay, so nothing overly special there, except for the fact that we know Elon will be there, and apparently he's going to be on CNN shortly after that, or whatever the story is. So we're going to wait to see. If the market rips up, we're going to watch out for this 167.50. So I'll be long that, and I'm only going to give it 50 cents. If it breaks 67 back to the downside, then we're going to get out of that name. But let's go over to the big desk with Sharif and Frank Caberna.
Hey guys, yeah, it's time for Frank Caberna, Senior Content Strategist at IGUS. Hey Frank, good to see you again. So let's get right to it here. So I see we're going to talk a little bit about Home Depot and the earnings miss. I got to tell you, you know, as a layperson, I see Home Depot and I see the housing shortage that we have. Millennials don't have anywhere to live. Government wants to build more homes. I know that's the case in Ontario, where the provincial government here is really going to town with building new homes. Surely Home Depot stands to benefit from this. Not so, though.
Yeah, at least not in the short term, Sharif, and thanks for having me on here. Usually I come on and talk about some big macro problems. I think last time we talked about the Swiss franc versus the US dollar, but I want to start with the story a little bit closer to home with the Home Depot miss, the biggest miss to revenue since 2002. And you can go check Home Depot stock. It's only off a percentage point or two today. It opened a little bit lower, was able to bounce back. But big waves that this story, I think, can make throughout not only, you know, the single stock Home Depot market, but also you see the waves that were made in the Dow Jones, and also this Home Depot slowdown, the biggest, like I say, revenue miss since 2002 in over 20 years, is a little bit of a sign of the times, so to speak. It seems like the economy is not only slowing down by Home Depot's standards, but also when you look at some of the more industrial commodities, here we have the Home Depot stock price, you lay on top of it crude oil and copper, and you see very similar long-term trends. And I mean, right now we're seeing copper and silver, the industrial metals, as well as agriculture markets, all trending lower here today with not necessarily this Home Depot news, but I think there is a synergy to this idea of the industrial economy slowing down, and that obviously not being good for Home Depot stock, being not good for the Dow Jones, and not good for people holding some of these more industrial commodities here, Sharif. But I do think there is a little bit of a hedge in the currency space. If we want to talk a little bit about that, I mean, how do you read some of this Home Depot earnings news that, like I say, in the short term, it's a bit of a miss. The stock's down 1.5% or so here today, but to me, a bigger sign of what could come, what I think a lot of people are getting set for, which is a general economic slowdown. How does it feel to you?
So, all right, Frank. So basically, what does that mean for commodities? When we have commodity inflation, do we have concurrent inflation in currencies? And if we don't, what does that spell for the economy?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like we're getting a little bit more of that US dollar flight to quality amid all of this economic slowdown, whether you're talking about Home Depot, you're talking about copper, or you're talking about crude oil, and you rope in the commodity currencies here, a very obvious negative effect that we've seen with the trend lower in your Home Depots and your Lowe's and in your commodities themselves. The Canadian dollar very closely tied to crude oil prices that have obviously been trending lower off of their highs from last year. Canadian dollar down pretty significantly here today, even with, or they're wrapped around unchanged, but they had some great news out of Canada here in terms of inflation sparking maybe an interest in interest rates in Canada holding higher than the US. But even with that, Canadian dollar not able to bounce maybe as much as it should, given this poor industrial news. And then Australian dollar getting hit very hard here today and unable to bounce back almost at all, very closely tied to copper. So with this idea of industry potentially slowing down, commodities falling further in price, these commodity currencies like your Canadian dollar and Australian dollar also falling against the US dollar here. And then you rope in the pound and the euro as well. We had this morning a UK number come out that was better than expected, more jobs in the UK than expected, and the British pound rallied a little bit and then came off. Eurozone has inflation due to come out tomorrow morning, and it feels like it would have to be a really big surprise to the upside for the euro to gain some traction against USD. Of course, the US dollar has been higher against the Aussie, the CAD, the euro, and the British pound. But I can't help but remark that between, Home Depot earnings, commodity trends that we're seeing, and, some of these inflationary numbers and job numbers coming out abroad, not able to lift any currencies against USD, it feels like we might be back in a little bit of that US dollar flight to quality that we saw from 2021 to the latter part of last year. And it could be coming at an interesting time with euro up at 110, British pound up at 125. These currencies have taken a little bit of ground back against US dollar, but a lot of different signs between, your industrial stocks, your industrial commodities, and the commodity currencies showing a lot of weakness to that US dollar. It could be a good hedge against some of those long stock positions.
Yeah, which is funny because last time you and I spoke, we were talking about de-dollarization. Now look at all this, back to flight to quality. I mean, it's so dynamic is the market. I want to bring it back to Canada for a second because we've been hearing a lot about energy prices. A lot was made earlier of the Chinese reopening and how that would have an effect on energy prices. Then we got the OPEC Plus cut, and it really hasn't had the effect, Frank, because I guess the demand isn't there. You want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, it feels very, very soft in that energy space here. As you say, a lot of different stories the last 2 months trying to lift that crude oil price off of not even its lows, but essentially stop the bleeding, so to speak, from obviously those heights above $100 a barrel. I don't think any of us thought that was sustainable for more than, a year or so at most. But the fall down to $70 a barrel, and it was either last week or the week before where they edged down to $65 a barrel intraday. A lot of different stories coming out, whether it's OPEC or seemingly optimistic Chinese news, to try to get this industry, this industrial part of the global economy kick-started a little bit here. And the market's not really buying it. And that's what you're seeing with crude oil prices not bouncing back, CAD not bouncing back. And like you very aptly point out, it was maybe a month ago that we were talking about, hey, economy is looking good despite interest rates being higher and these different things. Inflation is coming off, but it feels healthy. Now it seems like the worm has turned a little bit, and we're worried about not necessarily high inflation, but inflation falling through the floor here to a real significant economic slowdown. And the US dollar seems to be primed to take advantage of that. As everywhere you look, you can't really hide in gold. Gold is down significantly here today. US dollar seems to be the place to look for a flight to quality hedge if you're, one, thinking that the economic slowdown is just starting and it's going to keep going here, or two, you have some long positions in industrial stocks or these commodities or gold, silver, what have you here. That US dollar piece might be a good hedge against those positions.
Greenback bulls, take note. Frank Caberna, thank you very much. Senior content strategist at IGUS. Thanks for being on, Frank.
Thanks for having me.
And always welcome and backing that perspective. Of course, he mentioned gold. I know we'd get it in there. Obviously, he's always prepared. You can't even throw curveballs at that guy. But great job, of course, Sharif, as well. I got a little bit of slippage on Micron. It broke the channel, but I just punched out manually. That key didn't work for me, but I only lost an extra 15 cents or something like that. But either way, you're now breaking channel up. The big level is always going to be 65. I shorted the channel in here on the lower high, and now you're broken out. So if we get back up to actual tops, then we can work back into that one. It just allow it to be at the price that really matters, and if it gets there again, we'll take a shot at it. The NASDAQ is back at the top. Well, okay, shouldn't say that. The NASDAQ is going back toward the high of the day. So you still have lower highs on the 15-minute here, but you are creeping back up toward that high. We're at VWAP on Apple. That's where we've been getting in, essentially, right off that VWAP level.
Tesla.
Oh, that 15-minute sucks. So there you go. It's at that VWAP level. Most of our fills have been, well, for the most part, I took a couple under. This is the over. That's 172.50. If it curls there, we get in again. If it doesn't, we just get out. Tesla hasn't broken VWAP, so we're still looking for the under on that one. NVIDIA isn't really making a power move yet, so I suppose 95 could come into play, but I don't know, that's a pretty strong move to the upside on the NASDAQ for NVIDIA to still be making lower highs. So I'm wondering if NVIDIA is running out of steam a little bit here, and there could be some other names trying to play some catch-up. This is already up 2%. I see that, and then I see AMD at the high of the day, and I wonder what exactly is going on with NVIDIA, and why is it no longer looking as strong. So for the time being, I'm not really going to be as excited about the NVIDIA long. I still want Alibaba pulling back in 89. That remains valid. Bit of a curl there in Apple. That'll give me my last in, and then we'll see if it can end up holding that VWAP level. But AMD being this high, Micron breaking back out, that just kind of made a move to the upside. A little bit surprised that you would see a lack of movement in NVIDIA, as I just saw there.
So we're now 40 cents in the money or so, 37 cents. Give me that. Phil, yes, we got it at 37 right now on Tesla. So I just decided to take the 167 long. So that's what we took while Sharif was talking with Frank there. And so far, so good. So let's see if that wants to continue its move to the high side right now with Tesla. So, we just got some out at the 50 marker. Well, we got out 37, sorry. So let's now wait to see. We're still in this. We just got out a piece. I do want to think about a break higher here on Tesla, especially if this market wants to go. But I don't know what we want to do here. So we'll take that. There's some size everywhere. Whoa, I didn't see that one. Decent size right there, 100,000 shares on Tesla at 35. So there it is right there. We'll see if that gets taken out. I mean, 82 million shares. Shouldn't be a problem to take that out, but definitely holding it back. There, now it's gone. So was there and then gone. I don't know if it got marketed out or they pulled it or what right there, but there goes that 100,000 shares that was there. I still like the Tesla long. I feel like taking out VWAP and making its way back to 168. We can always wait to see if that does come through. So that's Tesla right now. We are long it and in charge right now, only 30 cents though. So that's the Tesla trade. All right, so Google. I mean, we have Microsoft. I have a target there of 313.20 for about $1.50. Google, it did bounce a little bit to the downside. We got something out there at 25, something out when it broke through the 50 period, and then some more out when it took 120 right there. So a couple outs while we were gone on that. Now hopefully it can fill out back down in here, and then if we get another out around 120, that'd be pretty good. And then we'll hold for a little bit of a bottom move lower. All right, that's Google. Oh, and then Intel was good. Like those, getting out 39. This is when we were talking about those half prints and missing fills and all that. We have 3 fills down there. So when it came back up, we just took it again right in this area. So our average price again, 47.5. What does it show up there? 48. So yeah, that's good. It's 47.60. So rounding up right there. We just missed a fill at 50, and that's what it goes to, you know, being on the right gateway. But that's okay. Maybe it does come up, and we'll get another fill. We are on a cheap one, so it's not that we got missed by lack of trying. So we'll try that right there coming through for us on Intel back to 50. Google is coming back down, and it just is back here. So we'll see if we can take 50 cents on this Google short and print us at 06. Good trade there. And then Tesla, still doing Tesla things, dancing around a little, but I still like that break of 50. So that's the trade that we're going to wait for, as it's almost power hour, only 24 seconds away before we see 3 o'clock, which should not signify anything.
It doesn't necessarily matter.
Unless, let me just check my tweet here
Unless
today.
Zila breaks 8.
Yeah, unless Zila breaks 8. I just wanted to see if we had anybody.
Zila just failed 8, that's why.
Oh, did they? Okay, 230 was Goolsby. So Goolsby's around right now. And I mean, I can even see he's talking all about the government. He hasn't decided about his meeting yet in June, what he's going to decide. Still looking at the economic numbers that are coming through. Goolsby says it's a mistake to commit to rate move with more data coming in. So that's Fed Goolsby speaking.
We said he's a voting member.
As we speak. As we speak, as he speaks, Fed Goolsby.
I want to say we looked yesterday. I feel like he's a voting member.
Google, okay.
I probably should double check that one, but I always, not that it matters. Sometimes they, either one can move the market. Zila did make a move. It keeps on breaking the high, but this looks like this is a pretty high volume rejection. You guys can't see. There you go. That's a pretty high volume break. Rejection of $8 and then right back in. That usually signifies a little bit of a turn. I know some people in the chat just mentioning that they had gotten out of it. That's a decent indication, maybe when it makes that run, to take some profit out. A lot of times I look for a short off of a level like that. So if it does press, kind of get back up above 740, 750, where it would be reasonable to put an $8 stop on this, that would make some sense. Chasing it down here, 690 short to $8, that's like $1.10 worth. Just $1.10 worth of risk. Like, what's it going to do? Like, you're not getting anything out till it gets to VWAP. That doesn't really set up as far as I'm concerned. Nvidia still looks relatively weak. So here comes 295 again, and it doesn't feel nearly strong. You're making lower highs as you come into this double bottom. I'm not feeling it. I still like Apple. For me, Tesla, I guess, that 167.50, that's exactly where my out's going to be. I'm short off this level. I'm getting out at 1-to-1, and I'm playing for the low of the day here. Once it broke that support, I'm going to usually move trend in the other direction, but the stop's going to be pretty much clean at that $0.50. I do see, look, I saw a lot of other names in there that got thrown out, not thrown out there, but that are moving. CVNA, I had a quick look at Carvana. I didn't see anything that was more exciting than something like Zila, just given how volatile Zila's been. It's hard not to look at that. CVNA, not bad, but quite frankly, you're moving, 20, 30 cents in the last little bit, down 4%. Nice stair step up, but that's not doing anything compared to what we're seeing over there on Zila. Like, that's the small capper. Until I see something else, that's the one I want to take a shot on. I pay for the locates there. Meta is now green on the day. This feels like it could have a big breakout. If the market takes out the high, Meta might be one of the ones that you want. It's been creeping up, just broke that 39 on a dip. I like 39 in here. Nice little stair step up. There hasn't been a red candle, so if there's going to be a dip on something, this just went red to green, breaking 39. 238.86 is the close. I like that for a retracement play. Still waiting for a dip buy on Alibaba. It hasn't really come in there. I guess we're probably watching it. Yeah, it's barcoding. So barcoding on Alibaba. I took my $0.50 out on Tesla. I'm going to take my shot there and usually just stick to the out. I don't want to re-enter that trade, especially when somebody was getting filled for size in there, as Sean was pointing out. A lot of times someone take that fill. I want to see the reaction to it. But one in, one out, I'd have taken profit if it broke the channel to the downside. It hasn't just yet, and let's see what happens. I mean, I do like that Meta, and I do like that Alibaba, but I don't want to be chasing either one of those moves if we're at resistance on the futures and they're at the high.
All right. I mean, I didn't even realize that Neil and I had opposite positions there, but we're out. I mean, now there goes Tesla. I mean, we're now 70 cents in the money. Plus, we added to the position too on the break higher for Tesla. So here we go. Finally, something. Well, not finally. We have a couple things working out for us today, and this is just another one of those ones. As there goes Tesla with a lot of size. There's always size on this offer. I don't see these guys on the bid as much. So we'll hold out for this one, but it's a good take. We're up. Obviously, it's the first time we traded Tesla today, and it was right into there. Those are the longs at 167, and then there's the break higher at 167.50, and then a couple outs up in the 70s and so on. Let's see if we can break that seller right there at 62 and then go upside from there. And then now that I'm seeing, oh yeah, I'm not going to get that 166.70. 167.70 is what I'm looking for right now. And then we also have, this means new trade alert right now, and that is JP Morgan. So we're going to wait to see what happens as it's just breaking channel again a little bit off that high. So there it is right here, taking out some of this. We just broke VWAP. We consolidated, break higher on this level. So let's see if we can get back to something up here. As the level I was looking at was 80, so that's right there. Yeah, 80, that's 81. So it broke right into there, and we went longer. We should be long at 70 though. So it's a take. I'll take something out at 90 because I think we're 10 cents a little bit too wrong on this. And then if we can get up into like 135.20, something like that. I'm not looking at that top wick, but I am looking at it. So we'll see if we can get back into there. And then if we break too much below some of this consolidation, then we don't want to be in this for too long. And then the 50 period right there is at 60. So just the stop that I put in was a break of that level. So if we break 60, then we'll get out for a hit of 20. Where am I long, JP? 81, so a hit of 21 cents there on JP Morgan if it doesn't want to go. So we're looking to get something out at 135, hopefully on that one. Did we get a 70?
Quick note on the banks.
Oh, no, we didn't. What was that?
Quick note on the banks.
Yeah, let's go.
So PACW is now down 10% and just broke a low. Apparently about an hour ago, someone was just asking what's going on with PACW, and all I could find was about an hour ago, Jamie Dimon, or Jeremy Dimon, according to Shreve, saying they're not interested in buying any other depressed banks. So that was right about here when PACW started to roll over. That makes a little bit of sense that, maybe you could find a little bit of weakness out of it. So that's all I could see. Maybe there's something else in there. If you double check, obviously, that's the only thing I could see in there. That's maybe why it was already trending down, PACW, but that last little push to get it through $5 finally could have been on the back of that news. Zila's now gone. I feel like that was probably the short there. Now, you're now just sort of trending back into the downside. So I guess this one's dead, at least for now. It does feel like it's giving it up a little bit. Both AMD and NVIDIA are coming down. AMD 102.5. NVIDIA trying to bounce at 295. It's still towing the line. At least for now, it's towing the line. I'm not sure how long that one's going to hold up there. I think that's probably those two are looking relatively weak. We get off these highs again. AMD off that 103, and certainly NVIDIA is looking like if it cannot hold on to 295. This was the level that I shorted earlier today. I was long this originally at 91, but then shorted it once it got to 295. A breakdown here would flip me into a short, at least looking for the short on NVIDIA. Meta's starting to give it up a little bit, so looking for this back into 239. I just recently broke that one out, so I want the consolidation long on this dip working into 240. Don't think we're necessarily done with the shorts. Apple's got about 10 cents till it gets to the lower high that it put in from earlier today. So yeah, watching a few interesting names here. PACW seems like it's just that because Western Alliance at the same time, it's a bit weird, but like an hour ago on that same note, Western Alliance bounced $1 and PACW dropped $1. So take that for whatever that means. I'm not sure that makes any sense, but yeah, PACW just made a move to the upside. A wall made a move to the upside. So that PACW, it's on its own. It's falling on its own at this particular point. You're not even seeing sympathy with the other regionals.
All right. Oh, man. You know, ever since Tesla got going off 167, it's really just stopped. So JP Morgan's not doing anything. I was just looking at some levels there. But Tesla's kind of been stopping out here. Not stopping me out, but stopping the move. It hasn't gone up too much through this 50 level, but those were good buys. The reason why it's showing the price now is because we're long right into here on that 50 break. So we still got to get up to 168, man, and that's where my next offer is. Let me just make sure. Actually, don't even have an offer up there, so let's put an offer up there and get out if it does rip up for us there on Tesla. And then our out, take the 50 period. I think that's probably good enough. A little bit longer time frame is 167.20. I mean, breaking through 167 probably happens, so I don't know if we need to be in that. Let's give this down to like 167.15 or so, and then be able to get out if that does not hold. So 167.15 will be the out on this one. So we've just done the math. We want to make sure that we're still profitable on a name here today, and that's going to be Tesla. Worth the risk, in my opinion. This was a new trade, and it's going to be JP Morgan. So, you know, I read that note. That really had nothing to do with it about Jamie Dimon not really going to come in and sort of, you know, be that white knight again.
That's more for the other banks.
No, it's a great point. I mean, when you're trading banks, you want to know everything. And I think for PacWest and all that, you know, that's not a good story for them because that would be their shining moment to be saved again. Yeah, the white knight there's coming through. But we'll wait. And again, you know, maybe we got to change this. Well, we are getting out at 60 anyways already. So, all right, if it breaks through 60, then we're going to get out of this. Not really working out right now, which is making me think that we should think about maybe getting out of a piece of this if we can there at 75. There we go. We did get out of a piece right there at 75. So we're out of a third of it. It just didn't look like it was working. Obviously, the market's pulling back down. We already have Tesla. It's good because we have Google short, and we actually have a reloaded Intel position as well. As the market goes green. Yeah, the market's been green for a bit. Intel back down to the downside, down into 41s right now. So we're making good bank on Intel today for sure, as that's really participating properly. It's JP Dimon and JP Morgan that we got out of a third there. So this is going to be a hit if it takes down 60s. So watch out for that play coming through. Other than that, I think we just discussed everything, man. Our Tesla will be coming out if we break through the 50 period and then give it a little bit more love. So like 167.20, 167.15, that's going to be Tesla. But hey, maybe the market does rally from here and it's all good.
Well, OMH isn't going to rally.
Oh, OMH?
Nah, it just halted to the downside.
Come on, of course it's going to rally.
So I don't know. It just how many times it halted today? This is only the third time it's halted. This only halted 3 times today? Seriously? How is that even possible?
Come on, OMH.
So down halt, 630, 607, current tap. So I mean, given how far it's moved, that doesn't actually feel like much. I'm just surprised that it doesn't have more than 3 halts down. This was $33 to $6 and only 3 halts. So that's pretty orderly on the way down, I suppose. Yeah, it moves up and it'll halt like 18 times if it made that kind of move. Probably like 20 times. But anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens when it opens back up. Maybe it catches one of those multiple halt downs, doesn't break the low of the day and gets a second look, but I kind of doubt it. You've broken now beneath 295 on NVIDIA. There you go. So it broke 295. It's still holding around VWAP here, so there's a chance it could still go. Don't get me wrong, but it's just a lot weaker than the overall market at this particular point. I'm still watching. I'm pissed off at Meta right now because it just missed my bid on that last little dip, so I was waiting just in front of 290, 239 there. Wasn't able to grab it, and then you're seeing it get back up to that 240. So might have to be a little more aggressive. If we're going to catch this, the next dip, I think we're not going to have to be so, I don't know, frugal's not the right word, but so tight to 239, not going to be worth it. Let's take a shot, wet the beak in front of it. This is a strong trending stock. I love when something late turns red to green and trends up like this. I just find if the market breaks out, then it's got so much room to go. The overall daily trend, Meta speaks for itself. The higher time for like the 15-minute, if you look up top, you still have room to even get to yesterday's high still. So if you're long underneath 240 and it gets to 240, you've got room for it to break out, and you're not taking the break into overhead resistance. You're long into set resistance, which I generally prefer. So I'm going to try and get some quarters or something on Meta here. I do like this one to the long side. A little more strength there for that. Twilio, high of the day. ACK. That's a good name. Yeah. Someone in the chat, their name is ACK, and just said Twilio, high of the day. Maybe it's an Admiral Akbar thing, which if it is, I absolutely love it. Is it a trap? That's why you brought it up, because it could be going red to green. Not a ton of volume, but nice recovery. Where are we at on the daily? Yeah, bottom of the channel, not a strong stock. So that's not, I don't like this as much, although it has found a bit of a bottom. It's a late day breakout on such a big move, 47.5. But I like the fact that it's held 45. You know, gap down on earnings, held to 45. The trade usually would have been this breakout here. So double bottom, then play this breakout at 46.3 because it made the double bottom. Airbnb had this move today. We played it, then gave it all back. So I didn't give it all back because I was taking profit into 08s. I reloaded it once, stopped out tight. But that's what I usually look for. Gap down, hold double bottom, kind of break that top out. That's what you're looking for. That's what Twilio did yesterday. That's sort of the problem. You'd be chasing that move there today. So NVIDIA back to 295. Apple, seriously? Now it's doing the barcode thing.
Come on, Apple.
Again, I had that wick to like whatever the heck that wick is. So short into 172.60. There's like a 153 wick on my chart from yesterday. Just a dark pull print. Apple never got there. But it's still holding right at 172.50 to 60. That's where we're short. AMC broke $5. I don't know. Why don't I short Meta because I'm shorting everything? Nah, I don't like it. I don't like the short there. It has to set up. The difference is this went from weak to strong and is holding higher lows, whereas Apple is holding the same lower high, and I'm shorting off that level. So it's all about a trade setup for me. You put the trade on, it sets up or it doesn't. You know, were you wrong in the trade and set your stop and then sort of set it and forget it. Yeah, that wick's annoying as well, so we'll go into here. It's just a stronger upward trend. I don't see a short up here. I see a consolidation long after you just wicked out the bottom, consolidated, broke out the top, and now you're making another consolidation. If the market breaks higher, I think you could have a 1% move in Meta. If we break down, it's a relatively tight stop underneath 39. So I kind of like that setup to the long side.
Yeah, PAC-W down 10%, obviously, on some of that news.
Going.
And I think, yeah, we always like to have our trades set up properly before we start to execute. So that's a very valid point to all of that. Okay, and we're about to have the same thing happen to us on JP Morgan. Well, we already came down here. You know what, we can actually, because we got some out, let's just see if we can buy some more here around 66. Because we got some out there at 70. Maybe we just punched the high too early there, obviously. So we can have to wait to see what happens with that. But that's something that we made a mistake on, I guess, was taking out that JP Morgan high, which is right there. Just thought that we were above VWAP, sort of scooping around, and maybe we did have a chance to go higher with that news that they are no longer going to be buying any of these distressed banks or putting in more money into the deposit, so on and so forth. And that's obviously had a impact on PAC West right there. So there's the move. Right to the downside there, and just continues to go. So here comes into that 450 area. So this was an area that I was talking about possibly buying some PAC West right here. This is where 450 has been into play again. So, you know, it comes back in. You got another 30 cents down there, and we'll see what's happening with, oh, wow, okay. So I was like, what's just going on? I'm getting these fills out of nowhere here, and it's this one.
Awesome.
I don't know what else to tell you guys, but Intel's been pretty awesome here in the afternoon. We just shorted this with you. So if you're following the trade so far for me today, well, then you're pretty happy because, well, in this afternoon anyways, Tesla, we had $1. We just took 80s out there. That's a reload from 167 right there. And we took some more on the break. So Tesla so far so good. We got some 167 80s out. Let's see if we can do it again. I'm a little closer to 168 flat. I may even be in the 90s on that play, so hopefully that will come through. So that's been a good one for us there. We're almost loaded back up on JP Morgan. Not loaded back up, but we're going to put on the other piece that we lost right there back on. Google's coming back in a little bit. Again, we just took out some 25s again there, and maybe we bounce. I'm just going to hold it. Doesn't seem to want to go up there, so maybe it's a short at 40. But, you know, shorting Google has not been a good play for me today.
Zila's now tanking it.
Zila.
So
well,
someone said in the chat, Zila offering. I haven't seen anything that says Zila offering, quite frankly. But it doesn't have to. Look what it did today. It does not have to have an offering to drop $2. It just came from 250 and went 3x. So I don't see anything on it. I think the short opportunity's come and gone. I paid for the locates only to not. You know, I wouldn't have chased that move shorting 7 even to give it a $1 stop. If you do it, hey, it worked out just 1-to-1. I just don't think when you're going counter trend, 1-to-1's good enough. Yeah. Because when you're going counter trend, the idea is it's counter trend. It's probably not going to be a coin flip in your favor. So you want to be, usually I think you want to set it up so that you can win 1 time out of 3 and be positive. That would not have been a setup that favored a 7 short there. You'd have to get this one somewhere up here, which means you're an algo or you're just like the fastest out there. Yeah, there's no offering on this. It's not really doing anything. NVIDIA still sets up for me as looking like a short as the market's trying to roll over, but you're just not getting action. So like it either breaks channel down and you're shorting underneath VWAP here, or it's just the tightest stop to 295. There's no real in between for me here because all I see is the NASDAQ, it's trying to roll over, but we're not exactly falling apart here. That's on my 60-minute. This is what the 15. The 15 here, it's a little bit more like lower highs, no real breakdown, nothing crazy happening. Just another sort of afternoon where we got that malaise. But it is, consecutive red candles. I mean, we got 3 in a row here off the top. It's not moving much, but it has been selling off since the high of the day. So I'm looking for shorts. It has to be something that sets up really well to look for a long trade up here. Like I said, if I had 239 on Meta, I'd be pretty happy with it. I still have that bid in, but I'm either getting NVIDIA off of 95 or it gets breaking down at 94. One of the two is going to happen, I do think, and then just Apple for the short side for me. Zila, I'm not trying to catch a falling sword in that thing. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Although if PAC-W came back close to 5, I think that'd be a short. I'm just not sure it's going to. It probably hits your level before it gets back to 5.
Zila, yeah.
No, PAC-W.
Oh, PAC-W, yeah. Oh, my level of 450.
Especially given the fact that like when Wall's going up $1 in that same time and PAC-W's coming down, that's a really, really bad sign, I think. But that's just me.
I think it's because they were the worst of the bunch. So
Yes.
now that they're not going to be getting that flow through and that protection of the white knight,
That's scary.
that is Jamie Dimon. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit.
You don't want them to go under.
You don't want to hold that overnight. Like, I don't think you want to hold any of these overnight because I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I
don't
mean,
know.
I wouldn't. But
I don't know.
To each their own. I would definitely not feel comfortable because, and that's in either direction. I don't think you want to hold it short overnight either. There's so much that can happen. Like your stop is essentially useless given the headline risk on
JP
those.
Morgan.
So NVIDIA picked the ladder. It broke 94 to the downside. I got slipped 5 cents, which quite frankly is pretty darn fantastic. Like that, the traditional stop works so well. I just slipped a bit in there at 50s because that's halfway down after a dollar move. So there's a buyer there at 57. So I'm going to bid 60s. Buyer just stepped in there. So I just got that 94 in NVIDIA at exactly the same moment when that broke down. Meta dipped back down into 290, 239 here. I got the quarters because, quite frankly, I moved my bid away from 239 even. It's the same sort of setup. I want to play inside the consolidation. It's got a nice little upward trend. If this holds the trend, then we should see higher highs maybe into 240. And that way, if the market doesn't move, we play inside the range. If it does move and it's up, I've got Meta long with NVIDIA here, as I literally just got into that. You know what? It ends up filling the 50s anyways. That guy's still there for 14,000 shares, but he's going to get filled any second now. So it's probably breaking down. If we do continue the move in NVIDIA, worth mentioning, this is 291. This was the long for me this morning. I would like to think that will hold up today. So I will be out of this no matter what if we get to 291, and at least thinking about the long off the 291 level on NVIDIA. So that's heading to the downside. We'll see if it's an actual flush or just a slight move with the market still up 0.4, but like I showed you, the 60-minute on the NASDAQ is 3 consecutive red bars.
Yeah, Pat McAfee joining Disney and ESPN. So he's walking away from $120 million from FanDuel to host his show every day. Yeah, he's going to earn $10 million per year at ESPN. So big congrats to you, Mr. McAfee.
ESPN actually getting talent back in after.
Yep. $120 million deal with FanDuel. He threw that away to get 10 a year. So good for him on that one. And just went over to Disney there, not doing anything. So that's okay, though. Nice deal there for Disney, probably $10 million per. All the YouTube followers that guy has and his channel
he has a great show.
Is absolutely insane. So there it is, Pat McAfee. I think that's a win for them. So let's just go long Disney. How about that?
That's a win for them. Yeah,
we'll see.
I like it.
122. The thing is, you're also above VWAP right here as well. So we can just sort of panic punch long and see what see if it works out. I mean, we have a reason to go long now. And, so we'll take Disney and see if that does work. You're also above here as well. So maybe we like this just even a little bit more than I thought. So we'll wait to see what this does for Disney. But again, it doesn't, whoops, we'll put this back on the level 2 so you can see the level 2. It doesn't look like it's really doing anything right now. So we punched the long there at 32 and change as it's trying to break through 35. And there it goes. Maybe we'll take a little bit more 37s, but other than that, we are now long on Disney right now on this move back to the upside. So let's see if it does go. So far, so good. Nice little take there for me on Disney. That's Tesla. So meanwhile, on Tesla, still hovering around the 70-75 area as the market's trying to go. So, you might have missed this. We got now Intel, the number 2 name here today for profit-wise, as Intel comes all the way down, and we just sort of, it was good that we got the reloader. It wouldn't have been as profitable, but there is a move back down on Intel. Now we only have about 20% left in total of what we had. So a lot of good outs there. Went into the 30s. The minute we got that, we started taking them out sort of like crazy down there. And there goes Disney to 39. We'll wait to see how far can it go. Good question, Sean. 92 is where that 200 period is, 91.80. So let's see if we get to 91.80 before we really do anything. We're going to average this in, and you could just go 1-to-1. Neil was talking about some of the ratios. Like if we're going to use this little breaking spot there, that's 13/14s, something like that. And if we're going to be long, now did we get hit more on Disney? No, we didn't. If we're going to be long at 33s plus some more 37s right now, then yeah, we had at least 20 cents to the upside. So we're looking for at least a 50 break to get this making some sense and dollars for us. So let's go Disney and let's go Pat McAfee. There's our other fill at 37 and see if this works to the upside.
Exactly. Oh,
91.20.
I picked up BOBA as well. That finally came back into 89. So that's the other new position. I don't have the new position alert thing. It's the well, I should have it. It is a fail that I don't. And if you don't know what that is, we're in Canada.
Now it's a new position.
That's the hockey, a little bit of hockey action. Obviously,
Canada's a disgrace.
We're not happy about how things have gone with the Stanley Cup final, but it is what it is. So Alibaba just picked it up on that little dip, kind of similar to a Meta here, where you get the consolidation off the top. We get the 89 long. I'll probably scalp some out at the top end of the range and play rinse and repeat. Apple finally broke. Just another thing, the reason for Alibaba. Never want to gloss over, because if you're only looking into this right now, Alibaba broke out a double top at 88.5, and it's a continuation off of 89. So that's the reason for the trade. Similarly, and this is the Apple. Oh, I zoom out to fix it, and then I zoom into Apple. Sometimes that chart. This one will be better. So Apple just broke the afternoon support. That's this level right here. I was short into it. I was short early. We were short a little bit later. But once it breaks that resistance, I should say not support, resistance, I'm now out of it. So we've managed to flip to 2 longs here that we liked. NVIDIA did come back. Now it's still in the pocket. So we got 94 break down to 39.5. It is now going back into VWAP here. If it shows enough weakness on a curl, I suppose, I'll probably jump right back into it. It remains valid, but the other 2, we get out at our stop. 2 longs that definitely set up for us, we jumped into, and we'll see how they work out. Maybe we get out to and break the high. It's entirely possible. I would not be remotely surprised if what ends up happening here is the market gets to the top and then pulls right back in. As a matter of fact, I was just offering in front of 239.50 on Meta, and it stalled at like 45. So I'll probably put it at Jackie Robinson and then see if I can get that fill, rinse and repeat that name. If I reload a short, it's likely to be NVIDIA. Just not nearly, it broke VWAP here, so if it holds underneath, that's a reload as far as I'm concerned. Not nearly as strong as these other names. And other things are breaking back to the top. This was just failing underneath VWAP.
All right, so just an update there. Tesla's not, even though the market's ripping here, Tesla's doing, not ripping, but the market now has 4 or 5 straight up candles. This is where it's now 330. So, this is where you want to start to identify relative weakness and strength. Like if a name's not moving now, may not make that move that you're waiting for later. So, it could be wrong, there's no doubt about that, but we switched our Tesla over 167.60. I'm here at 80, but it's not working. And Tesla, I don't know. What do we want to do here? I mean, I'm sort of talking through this myself.
There's news on. Thank you in the chat for pointing this one out. Man U, the Qatari Sheikh, has improved their offer on Man United on Tuesday. I do not see any, I want to see a number here. All I hear is an extraordinary 11th hour take it or leave it offer has been made. As to what the valuation is on that, I don't know. It's up 4%. It just spiked up, but you don't chase moves like this on potential deals, in my opinion, unless you know what the terms might be or have a decent idea. Because you could, maybe the bid's underneath something. I don't know where the bid could be. This got as high as $28. I would presume it's got to be, I'm not going to presume anything. Forget about it. It's not worth it. Wait till we see some actual juice there. This is still in the bottom end of its recent range. So it could have room to go, or that offer might not be as good as we think.
My prediction is it'll be 20 flat for Man U.
That's, what, I would just blindly looking at it, I would take that
chart.
That's probably, if you look at the last year, that's probably the average price.
Yeah, and that's why they're now getting this deal done, because it was just at $18 and it ripped all the way to 26. They don't want to pay that. Yeah. So I could see that definitely coming through for $20. So yeah, it might not be worth chasing it, but hey, it could be 22, 23, who knows? And as Neil said, that's the best part about this business.
If it came out and was 22, I'd punch long, obviously.
Yeah, well, obviously, yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see. It'll halt though, I would assume, if it does come out with anything.
And then it probably won't open back up till after
like that. So, okay, yeah, unfortunately there, we sort of sniffed out Tesla was a little bit of a problem, but we already have our out. So if it breaks through 15, we'll get out of Tesla for a profitable trade, obviously, as we don't have too many shares left here to the upside. We have about a third left. So still not great, but still okay, considering the fact that the market ripped and we noticed that Tesla didn't, yet the market just goes down like, what, that was from 40 to 35, 5 handles, and Tesla drops 40 cents. So, I mean, yeah, we know Tesla. We got it. You're weak. We got it. Hopefully, it can go back up. We are going to wait here. I'm going to switch it. I was going to wait for 60s, but this price right there, let's go to like 67 or 70 and just wait to see if we get a fill on Tesla and just sort of say thank you. And then if it continues to rip up, good, we'll still have a piece. And if not, then we can get out of the way on that one. JP Morgan came back up, so now we're flat on this name. We got a piece out for once it was turned into a flat trade for us. We got some out here at 74, so that's my price right now is 74. So hopefully it can get back up to the upside. We'll take a 79 or so, which is right here, which is when we started the trade, and then we'll see about it after that. Hopefully JP Morgan can rally just a couple more pennies. It's now in the money, so that's good. Temporarily, I guess, in the money, and we'll see what it wants to do now. Hopefully back through 80 if this market wants to get going. Tesla's going to fail. I feel like it keeps on bouncing off these levels. Let's put a piece out if we can get it at 44. I just put a 44 offer. Cancel the 65s. If it rips up, great. If not, we're going to be out of this in 20 cents. It's too bad. We saw that. We identified it. We should have punched short there on Tesla, and we did not. An alert on Disney. Same kind of story just happened there where it ripped up and, market stopped on a dime. We were able to get something out at least on Disney, as right now it pulls back in. So that was looking like a good trade when that news broke. So we've got a little bit out there. I don't know why it's like right at the very top. Oh, it's because of that wick. Looking pretty good at 91.50. So we'll wait to see. I don't know. I don't know. The only time I ever watched the Pat McAfee show was when Aaron Rodgers said he's coming out of the darkness there. And then when he came out of the darkness, he realized he wanted to play for the Jets. So I don't know if his eyes were still closed when he came out of there, but either way, Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers are boys. So, and shout out to AJ Hawk, who was also on the Pat McAfee show. Hopefully he's getting a piece of that money as well. All-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah? Okay. That's a piece of trivia I did not know.
And he won a ring.
He did win a ring, but was he one of the guys that was in that? There was that stupid singing movie that was Clay Matthews was in it. I remember seeing clips of that on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, there's like.
I'll have to check that out. I don't know about.
I forget the name of the movie. It was one of those like karaoke. You
yeah.
guys will probably have an idea what it is, but the clip is like the Packers show up at this underground like singing competition.
Was it
and it's
recent?
legit them. It was not that long. Pitch Perfect. That's right. That's the name of the movie.
I never watched that.
Anna something is in that one, and it was Matthews and a couple of other guys were there. Dude, it's freaking hilarious.
Well, Clay Matthews did a laundry detergent commercial.
He's jokes. I respect.
Yeah, that's what I thought you might have meant.
No, but You know, I'm not saying the guy's
Pitch
like
perfect.
He's not Justin Timberlake or some kind of crazy singer. It was just really funny.
Yeah, no, he's a linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was. So I reloaded NVIDIA here. You guys are right. It is pitch perfect, not Sing. That's a
Sing is a
Sing
cartoon.
is like that's a cartoon. My daughter loves that one. And it's Anna Kendrick. That's her name. Anna Kendrick.
Yeah,
She's okay. I don't know every single actor's name out there. I don't think I've seen a lot of her films, to be honest. I'm sure she's fine. That movie was hilarious. NVIDIA reload here. Thank you very much, Rob. I'm now losing my train of thought. He's saying Sing has a bunch of people in it that in my head that I'm supposed to say. But I wanted to say I'm reloading on NVIDIA here, as when you have like the voice in your ear as it's going, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to describe the trade. I'm going to get back out here at 239, 293.5. We'll rinse and repeat this one. As long as we're angling downside underneath VWAP, I do like this. It is 330. The early look on the imbalance was 60 million to sell. That's literally nothing, so it doesn't matter. Meta, just to give a quick update here on Meta, we did get that first dip buy. It then kind of rejected the high of the day. I don't know, this is not a real wick. It never touched 239, but if it gets down to 239 again and can maintain this breakout, I still like the channel that it's in. Obviously, I don't want to hold it all the way back into VWAP. I'm going to stop out underneath 239. Same thing over in Alibaba. Difference is Alibaba has not given me that fill up at the top. Lower eye consolidation. It might just straight break 89, and then we'll just be out of it. I think it's worth it, but these Chinese ADRs, sometimes they can trend all day, and there's movement late in the day, up or down. Other times, you know, it's pretty much Deadsville in the afternoon. I thought it was going to make a move, given how strong it was, but yeah, nothing happening here, unfortunately, in Alibaba. You already mentioned Tesla, so that was frustrating for me because it's set up well. You know, I thought this one set up pretty decently underneath VWAP, kind of like what NVIDIA was doing, but it broke the top. Like, there was never a world in which, you know, I suppose I could have said jump back into the trade in front of 168, but I'd never hold that trade to 168. You know, I got to have a tighter stop later in the day. When you're late in the day, there's less time for it to work when you have to cover by 4 o'clock. So always stops get tighter, at least for myself, at least for most day traders. You tend to have tighter stops as you get to the end of the day. I moved over to NVIDIA, just felt like that was doing what I was hoping Tesla would do. Right, so that didn't happen. Now we're just over at NVIDIA. Not a heck of a lot going on in terms of that Zila. I keep looking over to see if it's doing anything. Coinbase, I saw someone mention Coin. I just saw a Coin in the chat. That's not doing anything. If you are interested in Zila, it is bouncing off of VWAP at least. So I suppose there's a long somewhere in Zila if you like it going into the end of the day with maybe like a 50-cent stop in there. Not a trade I'll be taking. I feel like once it gives that up, I don't want that long. Not when it doesn't make any sense to me why it's up in the first place.
So Tesla did go down, and we got out a little bit there on Tesla. Sorry. Oh, Microsoft. This was the one trade that we forgot to show you guys before. Well, not forgot to show it to you. I showed it to you. But there's the out there at 313.40 or so on Microsoft. So again, good longs. That was about $2 there. So that was a good trade for sure on Microsoft. It came right in, boom, hit us out on that one. And there's, where's Tesla? There it is. It came out positive on Tesla. So it was a good idea, but it was more of a better idea to get long at 167 like we did rather than 167.50. But there's the last little drop off. Looks like we got 16. So I don't know if it broke the level or not, but that was a decent spot out for Tesla. So good trade, but not the best ending there. Oh, but we did, the reason why it's not the reason why, but you know, we got out at 44. We were talking about that as well. So on the way down, we sort of were able to, you know, relax off of that 50 break. We have an 85 out, and then we also have a 15 out right there as it does break lower. And then meanwhile, as it continues to go lower, we do get some good Intel fills. JP Morgan broke. Right there. So we're not out of it all, but we're out of most of it here on JP Morgan. And unfortunately as well, it looks like Disney wants to go to the downside. So what was a good trade came back into VWAP right there. And now it looks like it wants to get a little bit lower. We're waiting for 15s to break. So if that does happen on Disney, then we are going to get out of that trade. You know, again, these imbalances, what is that number? We don't have
60.
it. 60, okay, so irrelevant on the number there for Disney. But right there, we just It's just at VWAP. We're just giving it to this 15 break. So let's see if that will work there on Disney right now. But maybe that Pat McAfee news is not great. It's going to the downside. I thought that would have been a good windfall for them, but maybe it will, just not today. Down 1.8% is Disney. So very solid sell side. So thank you, Daniel Adams.
It seems like good news to me. Like, I know on the writer's side, they've been literally, ESPN's been losing everybody that was any good to The Athletic, which, candidly speaking, The Athletic's freaking great if you're a sports fan. All the best writers all went to the same spot. They got a great app. It's like, thank you very much. But that's what's been happening. I thought it was good news. So I just got a rinse and repeat on NVIDIA, 94 to 93.5. The trend is wanting to hold. If the market doesn't want to move, I mean, what else are you going to do? Like, you're just play something inside of a range with what it seems like is a short-term trend as we get into the close. I just saw someone saying PAC-W still tanking. It is, and what is the news? The only thing that I was able to see with PAC-W was that note from Jamie Dimon saying that JP Morgan is no longer interested in picking up any distressed banks. That was about here-ish, and then it's been rolling over ever since. So that's, again, maybe there's something else. If there's something else, I couldn't find it, quite frankly. So I checked quickly. Again, I wasn't able to find anything else. It's still heading to the downside. I really, I kind of wanted off $5. It never happened. There's my reload on BABA. I did say it would be a relatively tight stop. Yes, 89.11 into an 89, maybe giving it 15 to 20 cents is too tight of a stop. But at this time of the day, you're running out of time. So I was going to be scalping it inside of the range for 20 cents anyway. So I was really only looking for first out 2 to 1. If it held the trend, great. If it broke out the top, fantastic. It's a similar play over there in Meta. Meta just a little bit stronger over here as it eventually loads up there, if it does want to. Okay, we'll play this game. We'll play it this way. So Meta, I am long off of this 239 and then playing out in front of like 239.5. So playing the same range over there on Meta. The difference is BABA broke to the downside, so we slapped a fail, one in, lost 15 pennies on it. Meta's still working inside of the range, but we're running out of time. It feels like the NVIDIA short is better than any of these longs at this particular moment.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk to Brendan. We'll talk about some 52-week low names today. What's up, Brendan?
There we go. Let's talk about these banks real quick, guys. Just saw this. Bridgewater, big, large hedge fund, Bridgewater Associates, dumping banks. So more 13F filings coming through, so it might add a little bit of negative pressure to some of the banks anyways. This is Ray Dalio's fund. JP Morgan, BAC, WFC, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, and Citi all mentioned. Also mentioned at the bottom here some of the regional banks. So Ray Dalio getting out of banks.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing in the chat here what people say.
Little late, Ray.
It is a little bit late, but you know what? I find when you're saving yourself coin, at the end of the day, if it's like sometimes you get out of something and it feels like it's a little bit too late, but it's still a good decision.
Yeah. Hey,
you know, I've been there before. Like I bag holded a few stocks from the pandemic, like pandemic buys that just couldn't have been losers on the way up, and then you hold that 10% all the way back in. You look at where you could have sold it, look at where you did sell it, but you know what? It was still a good out. Virgin Galactic. I remember I held it all the way. I held 10% all the way back. I want to say it was to like 20 something. I sold the last of it when it broke $10. Because it's like I don't care. I don't want to be in it at these prices. But it's still better when it hits $5. It still saves yourself something, even if it's not a lot. Principle is priceless. Yep. That's the way. One of my favorite lines is "Principle is priceless." A good friend of ours used to always say that, and it's so true. Bag held. Okay, transparent trading. I said bag holded. It's 340, man. Bag held would have been the correct term. But either way, Virgin Galactic is now at $4. I doubt my daily chart wants to be able to do it any justice, so I could show you, because I'd have to zoom so far back, I have to show you 2020. Would have to zoom almost forever for that one to load up. But you couldn't have lost on any of these things. So you just picked anything that you thought was even remotely cool. There were some fundamentally good plays. Like I remember going long Pfizer that I fundamentally liked that play on Pfizer, and I actually still hold on to that. But these other things, like for me, Pinterest and Lemonade and all those other goodies, right? Like you couldn't have gone wrong. And they were great on their way up and sort of playing off these. For me, like the money level was around that $20 level every single time. It was just pretty gold to go longs into it. But then when it came all the way back in, I tried it one more time, and that would have been back in there. Held on to a piece of it for the $10 break, and you can see what happened at 10. Like it was sort of an obvious breakdown, but at least you get out of it the last little bit. And I always say this, even if you're only holding like 10% and you're like, but I'm still up on the stock, look at my, usually it doesn't matter because I could have got out of that thing like way back in here when the trend was done. So never turn something like that, which you don't mean to, into just a ridiculous, I don't care about it. If you think you should be getting out of it, just get out of it. It doesn't matter how much you have. Principle is always priceless. NVIDIA, with 8 minutes to go till the imbalances, it's down to 2. Either we get a breakdown here and I'm holding in a 91, or for now the stop is just above 94 in the VWAP there. I don't even think I give it to VWAP at this particular point. Or I might just tighten it up. If we can break 93, I'd love to tighten this stop up and trail it a little bit more here. So I don't know if the market wants to even make a move. The NASDAQ's holding the same 10-handle range that we've been staring at for the majority of the afternoon. That's up 0.4%. A lot can change at the end. It's the ES that is overall red. So let's see what happens. Can some of those tech names start to come back in? I'm at least hoping one of them does. Meta, I doubt both of these can work. The reload on Meta, I'm not going to take a reload at this time. A little bit too tight. If it's in the money, hold it. If it's kind of testing you to the downside, no point reloading Meta here. I'll just hold on for 39s.
Okay, right now, 52-week lows today, PayPal. So we can look at PayPal breaking through $61 today, making it brand new. I mean, here's the daily chart for PayPal. If we can look at this real quick. It's only 343. We have a little bit of time left. What a disastrous report for PayPal, taking out the bottoms now again. Bye-bye. Don't know where the bottom's going to be on that one. Another one, 52-week low today. Pfizer has been an absolute dumpster fire as well. Chase dividend, this is what happens. Pfizer all the way to the downside from 54 down to 37. This has been broken for a bit. All right.
You want to zoom out further on that one.
Yeah, this 52-week low Pfizer. The other one, Danaher, we've talked about that a couple times. And then CVS also, 52-week lows today for CVS. So, this is a disaster as well. CVS from $100 down to $67. So, some big moves. Big moves happen all the time on every name. So, but anyways, CVS, an absolute disaster. And then Danaher on the New York as well, but that's a bigger name. And the other one was Keurig Dr. Pepper, but some of these are the same names. Like we talked about 3M the day before as well, as that was a little bit of a weird one, and they had some lawsuits and whatnot with 3M, and some of you had talked about that, down to $98. Wow. That one continues to get low.
CVS is about to get to major support.
Yeah, CVS might be all good.
The weekly 50s on the weekly is huge on CVS.
All right, Disney just breaks lower as well. We tried that. This is one that's going to be 52-week low in a second as well, Disney. Breaking again. You got some more longs, just came out again there. As there it goes, breaking lower. Look at the market. The market's really falling apart, which is good. We just took some trade, well, not good. We're out of the trades that we were worried about. Right there, Google, we took a short. We're just getting printed now at 120, so that's good. Intel, obviously, like I said, man, late to the party here, but this rockets up our scoreboard right now, 29.50 right there for Intel. Nice move. Down now, right back down to the lows. This is the low of the day. Yes, it is there for Intel. So a couple good shorts right there. We talked about getting hit there and bought it and sold it back. So that was fine. And then now all the way to the downside. So these are the trades that I'm trying to look for, where your risk to reward is much greater than 1-to-1, 5-to-1 in this example right now. But that's what you're looking for here today. It's been tough because really it's just Google off the open. If I don't have that, the day is fine, but Google definitely ripped up there right off the open, and it just crushed some levels that I thought would hold, including 118. So we are already DOA'd a little bit there, but making it back on all of these shorts now, it's just didn't make enough back to do this. If we fell back down to 119, different story, but we didn't really do that. Google kind of held high throughout the day. So we'll see where we open up tomorrow on the NASDAQ. Still at 0.35, but good movements on some names, wrong on others. AMD was a monster up there at 103 today too. Like, I'm just surprised at how much some of these stocks have moved. Like,
it's good volatility, but it's like
AMD
it's
103,
not. It's not market volatility. It's single stock, individual volatility is what you're looking for today. So, or these days is the best way to look at it. So I'm gonna have my trail on in NVIDIA. It just bounced off 293. The computer crashed. I just have only NVIDIA, that 294 short. That's the only thing left for me. So I'm going to tighten that stop up as we go to Brennan.
Reading about this right now, This is the Man U takeover deal that will never be completed, apparently. The Qatari contingent is apparently said to have made a last-minute, 11th hour, take-it-or-leave-it bid for Man U, guys. Huge spike there on that.
I loved it in the chat. Someone was like the Michael Corleone offer.
Take it or
nothing.
leave it.
No, my favorite is one where he says, I offer you nothing.
Yeah, well, that's why I said 20.
Yeah.
Where it's at, where it lies.
Which makes, it's like there's been so much hoopla there. Never, because if you saw the daily chart there, it was as high as 28. People chase the whole, well, if there's a deal, it has to be higher. That's not necessarily true. Not every deal trades at higher. A lot of times when they look to make a bid on a stock, the actual metric that they'll go by is like the 90-day average of where it is.
Yeah.
Or sometimes even like a 180-day average, and they'll look for a premium based on that. So you gotta look back and see where it is. Anyways, the only thing I'm in is going to be NVIDIA. The position board is not working. It probably won't get back up. So it'll just be this one for me. Short here off of 94. Not a heck of a lot that I'm looking at elsewise, but the NASDAQ does want to seem to give it up here. So I'm going to give it a chance to break that channel down. I know I like 91s, 92s a heck of a lot more likely. Only 10 minutes to go. What has been a green day is starting to lose some of its luster on the NASDAQ. The ES has been down pretty much the whole way, though. You know, the ES has been weak all day long. A lot of that has to do with Apple to a certain degree, Tesla to a certain degree, but a lot of sectors not participating here today.
Yeah, what Apple and Microsoft are 14% of the S&P, which is absolutely insane. Okay, we only have Intel and Google right now, and then we do have a JP Morgan, but that looks like that's going to break 50 coming up soon. So again, you know, in, out, in again, dropped a little bit there at 55. Now it looks like it's going to take this down. We didn't have that Ray Dalio news before, so obviously if they're dumping all the banks, then they're going to, you know, JP Morgan's going to be one of those. Plus the market is also making a move down. So yes, OMH, what's up to D Westermeyer now with the 199 super chat, just invested his Switzerland honeymoon fund into OMH. So with a little bit of a laugh there, I hope that is a laugh, but you know, to each their own. Who knows where these stocks are going?
He's just
to go. Tesla 160, not moving, 167, sorry, right now. The sinks are now unclogged here, so that's good. So shout out to anybody who needs to use the sink. And then, okay, Intel just keeps on going down. So does Google, man. We're 80 cents. We got out of JP Morgan, by the way. It's at 50, broke 50. It's at 50, so that's where it is. We got out. And then Google right now, 75 cents in the money as we still continue to hold that one. And then Intel's 15 cents in the money. So we might have the best names profit-wise today, but I definitely have the worst ones as well, with Google being the net worst name here today. So I have that, and I have Apple, but we have at least the winners with Intel, but not good enough, man. That Google trade really sucked. Maybe tomorrow I won't short the open on Google. We'll see.
For me, a trade's a trade, the setup's the setup. Yeah. It got to the key price where it kind of worked yesterday, but the more important thing for me on Alphabet, imbalance is just hitting now. I'll get to that in a quick second. I don't think we're going to have anything crazy on the imbalances, but we want to make sure we get that to you. Where is, okay, great. Now mine isn't even loaded up. I guess it must have crashed to the point. Do you have the imbalances up? Mine must have crashed.
Yep. Grab Palantir right now, AGL. AAL, Uber, so a couple of not strange names, but Grab. There's Google with a bid right now, but that's still going to the downside as this market is really, that must have been a big sell. Did Brendan, no, it's only 26 million to sell, but the market is falling. We might as well take advantage of this, man. We have $1 in the money now on Google, so that's a great one. We did make some back, thank God for that. We made some money back. We made a lot back on Google, so I'm okay with it, but I'm still upset at my decision making. They're going short all day on that name, but good take at the end. Peloton with a bid, okay, that's at 7. We'll watch out for Peloton. Palantir, yeah, I was looking at Palantir today, and I feel like that 950, 960 area is going to be a good one. We'll wait to see if that breaks tomorrow long. If it's an up day, I could see that coming through. Yeah, nothing really. I mean, Uber I really like. That's falling down. I mean, again, this is off earnings. At 38, 39 was probably the most you could have got there. We talked about that on the daily chart. Yeah, nothing really else here too interesting to me. Okay, there it is. Our Google fill just came in, so What a great fill that was. 60s, right back into this area. So that's $1 to end the day on Google. So far so good on that one. But yeah, not lost too much money early on that name. Ah, well, that was Google.
Yeah, I just got my trail out, so I'll just bring the register on it. The shorts off the highs were hard to get, but NVIDIA got to 299 today, or almost 299 before pulling back. I didn't short it until it broke down at VWAP 94. We got 93.5. It then broke channel in, tighten the stop up, trailing stop 292.5 right down there. So it does work out to the downside. Unfortunately, I look back over at something like load up here, Tesla. It's right back to where I was, sort of in. I would never have really held that one. I'm never making that hold. The other one that's probably a little bit more frustrating, I would say, was Apple. So the level that worked all day long, it ran stops. So this is all day long. It ran stops and then rolled right over. But that's how it be sometimes. That's how it be on Apple. Not too bad, obviously, because he had some shorts from earlier. But it almost like each time it worked, it had to run the stop before it was good. That happened earlier today. That happened in the afternoon as well. And sometimes that's the best trade. Sometimes you've got to let it run the stops and then get into the trade, or at least only add until that's happened. That's certainly one of those things to look out for. One last one for you guys, that PAC-W. It's still, it only trended downside there. I didn't know about the Ray Dalio thing, obviously.
Yeah.
I just searched Twitter. Brennan went down, and thankfully Brennan got the icon service to be able to show him what that story was. I just saw the first story I was able to find happens to be that little bit of a note on JP Morgan. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but yeah, you're going to close on the lows here with PAC-W down 15%. It didn't halt, so it wasn't like it was crazy price action to the downside, but you're getting into some pretty big areas. The last time we saw $4 here, this stock ran like a bat out of hell to the upside. So maybe we see a little bit of that tomorrow. Back on the radar to watch, but not for the right reasons here with PAC-W.
No, but that's a good level, 450. If there's a little bit more time in the day, we could watch out for that. 52-week highs today. At least I own two of these names, man. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Oracle, and Lam Research, all at 52-week highs. There's other names, of course. I'm just reading from a Twitter feed here that tweets out the 52-week highs. The only position we have left is Intel, and yeah, it's right here. Let's just take a look. We're still short. We're 20 cents in the money, trying to get a little bit more on that one, but it's 354, and the imbalances are already in. All right, so here we go, like short AMD, right? Gets stopped out right there. Now AMD comes right back down in again. Wow, what a move here in the aftermarket, in the afternoon. We'll see if it continues in the aftermarket. There goes AMD right back down. We talked about that high of 103. Hard to predict that, man. I thought the high would be 102.50, and then we did well. We did well on the pullback in for sure. AMD, look, long today, short today, then lost on that last piece, but there it is coming back in for AMD. We'll check that out tomorrow for sure. That will be, wow, there goes Intel, down to 26s. So we actually, looks like we got a little overfilled there, which is fine. So now it shows me long on Intel, and we're not. So that's okay. It's just a small little piece. My order just didn't, I guess, cancel fast enough there. And there we go. Now we are out of Intel, and that is that. So good trade there for Intel, man. Definitely made some money on that one. So that was a good one, making that back. JP Morgan continues to fall. Disney, not a good one at the end of the day, but relatively light on the hit, but respecting, I guess, 91 there. The low of the day, 90.80. That's going to be, I think, a 52-week low, most likely for Disney. There today. Let me just sort it. This is the watch list that I have. Is Disney on here? There it is. Oh no, 52-week close $84,
no,
so we're not even close to that. There's the Microsoft 313 52-week high. Nothing else on here. NVIDIA, we talked about that. We talked about PayPal with the 52-week low. So that's what's popping off there today on my watch list to go around with everything else.
So just quickly, I know exactly why you said that for Disney, and it's almost it's a good point because of where Disney is on the chart. It might not be at a 52-week low, but it's at a really big support level. So if you go back to last year, it's at the next most significant price level, that kind of 90 area. So big level on on Disney here. I was watching that CVX. That's a big one. It's interesting. I see a stock down that far. It's like if we get out of a recession, that could be okay. But we do have some earnings left. Not a whole lot, but there's the board up there. It is going to be about retail mostly this week. We get Target and TJX tomorrow morning. Nothing that really stands out for me in the afternoon. Home Depot, of course, didn't exactly have a stellar day today. Actually, not even
No, it
sure.
did have a good day. It just
well,
battled back.
Okay, but it actually reversed here. Yeah, it did battle back. So it did have a pretty solid day. It's going to end up closing more or less where we opened up. So it's given back most of the gains that it had, down 2%. But the report and the guidance weren't that great, kind of hinting at a bit of a slowdown for some of the home improvement, or maybe just tapering back. It's just smaller projects is what they were saying.
Yeah, they were saying that. All right. Also, I forgot to mention Nikola 52-week low, 71 cents. For Nikola. It's
I guess
good thing
that
GM got
dollar
out of that like around $50. Shout out to Mary Barra on that
chart. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the minute that they were pushing those cars down the road, that might have been a problem for Nikola's truck there.
Have you seen the Nikola chart?
That was Trevor Milton. Like that guy, I don't know if that guy's in jail or not, but he got paid a lot of money for all that. But so did everybody else. Like is Chamath in jail? You know, there's
That's
a lot
a
of
very
things,
different story.
that are not.
There's
in
like
jail.
literal fraud though. Like there's a big difference. It was like rolling a truck down to pretend like it's working is a very big difference between bringing a stock that's overvalued to market.
Multiple stocks.
Yeah, but at the same time, like everyone's gobbling it up because you have interest rates are at zero, so everyone's guilty. But to me, why I'm pissed off when I look at the Nikola chart, there's it testing $1 for 2 days, getting up to 105, double tapping a buck, consolidating underneath it, and then 98 short, and then short the next day, and then short the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, and then probably tomorrow as well. So that dollar level for these, penny stocks, small cappers, it's a good one. You just have to be watching out for it. You can't usually give up on it after that, like that first day. It's usually pretty good if you can work that trade. The rejection of that breakout on Nikola looks pretty juicy. 1 minute to go. Market is going to end on the lows. I'm double checking. NVIDIA, oddly enough, even with this pullback, it's still technically in the midst of that breakout. It's still above that 91 level. It's a huge rejection. My guess is you're testing this 90 to 91 tomorrow morning. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
All right, yeah, only a minute left right now. There is a big move down there, as we talked about for Google. It went all the way back up, now all the way back down, and it's just crazy. Like all these are shorts, like just insane. We made good money back in the afternoon on this name. So Google, we'll see tomorrow where it's at. We'll probably be shorting that 120 level, which will be a disaster for us as well. But the biggest and the baddest short, Intel, just keeps going down as well, as that's at 29.25 right now. Intel just continues to go to the downside. We'll look to short something like that tomorrow with only now 14 seconds left before we close out the day. There's absolutely nobody at the bell. So with only 5 seconds to go, there will be a Trader TV Live 3, 2, and 1. And that is the end of that. So, all right. Like I said, it was a very, very busy day here. The Qs back to VWAP, back to support as well, as the market just fell, and looks like we didn't do anything today. This is basically where we opened,
exactly
right there. So here's where we opened, and here's where we closed on the NASDAQ. Here's the open. It does spike up. So there is, if you go to 9:30, it's this top candle. But, 5 minutes later, and we're right here, right there. Nice moves up, nice move down. It's too bad that happened too much at the end of the day, although we made some decent money back on some of those shorts. We should have a pre-recorded bell ring. That would be good as well.
That could work.
But all right.
I was going to sprint, but then I had this cup here, and I got I don't know. I didn't want to break the mic yanking it. But
yeah, Katrine's on the phone, which is why she couldn't get to that.
Yeah, she's working, right? She's working.
All right, Brendo, how did the markets wind up?
One green number to show you guys on the board when we get to the end of the day here, and it's the NASDAQ 100. We give back most of it that we saw at the beginning of the close show there. It was up about 0.5%, so 0.09 when all is said and done. 1.2 there, yeah, it was the regional banks that get hit at the end of the day. The Dow down a full percent, 0.64 for the S&P.
All right.
Yeah, not the best of days. We actually didn't talk anything about crypto, to be honest with you. At the end of the day there, but worth noting, we did not hold on to 27,000 in Bitcoin. So I don't have any good news for you on that front. You did bounce off some support, but if we do not hold that little wipe up bottom we had, yeah, it's a bit of a downward trend as well in Bitcoin. So nothing was spared today Well, I'm sure there's something out there that was there's a bull market everywhere, I suppose somebody says. But yeah, crypto to the downside at the end of the day. Just realized we didn't really talk about that or trade.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, not at all today.
Hanging around 27, so that is good. The Tesla event has started, so Tesla will be on the board tomorrow for sure. 166.70 right now. We're positive on Tesla. Only a couple quick trades there at the end of the day, making about 80 cents and then losing it on the break of 167.50, but still staying pretty positive, which is nice on that last out. And there's the move down, so we'll have to wait out for Tesla. But it's 4:02. It's Lakers, Nuggets. Who do you have?
The Nuggets have been my favorite non-Raptors team for 3 years now, so I have to take them.
Okay, I think I have the Nuggets too. Yeah,
I think LeBron's playing inspired, and Anthony Davis when he's healthy. I mean, he's unreal when he's healthy. That said, Jokic has been pretty on fire himself. So I'm going to take Denver in 6. I feel like feels right to me. So.
Yeah, it could be. I'm going to wait to see what happens tonight. If they get blown out, then obviously we'll get out of that futures that we have. But maybe the Lakers win. We'll see. No matter what, though, good luck to everybody. Thanks, Brendo, again today. Thanks to Bears versus Bulls. Mahad doing great work over there. Rob's over there, too. Everybody that's involved. Max, Sharif, and, of course,
Professor.
Everybody that watches us every single day. We'll be back tomorrow and rinse and repeat this all over again. So, wow, McCarthy, there's more talk about the debt here as we go. So, hey, stay tuned. Watch out for different posts from all of us on Twitter, and we will be back tomorrow. So for Neil, Brendan, I'm Sean. We're Trader TV Live, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao.